Of the cruise ship hit by the hantavirus headed in the U.S. I'm Maria Aquino with the answer.
Home sales in Missouri are up so far this year. This is Megan Lynch. I'll tell you how much.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A gorgeous day today with sunshine, our high 78.
And with Debbie Monterrey, I'm Tom Ackerman, and the Cardinals lost a heartbreaker yesterday. Riley O'Brien gets hit for a home run in the ninth inning as the Padres were down to their last strike. They tied the game, and they won it in extras. But overall, the Cardinals have had a good season so far. We'll take a look at it at 6:15.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A plane filled with passengers from a ship infected with hantavirus arrived in Nebraska this morning. One of them who tested positive and others showing symptoms, correspondent Bradley Blackburn.
On board, the cruise passengers were under the careful watch of medical crews, and now they'll be kept in mandatory isolation at the U.S. National Quarantine Unit in Omaha. The cruise ship remains docked near Spain's Canary Islands, and the hantavirus strain that spread on board is now a global concern.
We can handle it, and it can be handled.
In Germany, evacuated citizens are quarantined at a Frankfurt hospital. In the Netherlands, evacuees were escorted home. Spain shared video inside a plane outfitted with containment pods for passengers.
President Trump is dismissing Iran's response to the U.S. latest peace proposal as totally unacceptable. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu weighed in on CBS's 60 Minutes.
There's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran. There's still enrichment sites that have to be dismantled.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Oil prices are heading back up again. U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate futures rose 2% to $97 a barrel in early trading, while international benchmark Brent crude futures rose 2.5%, approaching $104. Both benchmarks up around 40% since the war began 11 weeks ago.
U.S. gas prices holding steady at an average $4.52 a gallon today. A retired police officer not surprised after a Frontier jet hit and killed someone who jumped the runway fence at Denver Airport.
It's too bad that something like this has to happen before, the heat get put on them before they do something that should have been done years ago.
New images show the moment the plane slammed a trespasser standing directly in its path as the jet readied for takeoff. The impact sparked an engine fire that filled the cabin with smoke. A horrifying discovery near the Mexican border. Police in Laredo, Texas, say a Union Pacific Railroad worker found the remains of 6 people inside a boxcar. Temps at the time were above 90. The hero principal in Oklahoma who tackled a man who entered his high school with a gun has spoken exclusively to CBS News.
About the time I hit the door, he was 6 foot maybe from me, 8 foot tops. There wasn't any time to think or anything. I was already moving forward.
Kirk Moore, who rushed the former student and held him down until first responders got there, shot in the leg. No other students or faculty were hurt. This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount.
It is 6:03, and right now we've got clear skies, 46 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. As we first reported Friday, the Army Corps of Engineers finds more radioactive contamination in North St. Louis County.
I would describe it as a hot spot.
KMOX's Michael Calhoun gets reaction from the community.
Dawn Chapman of the group Just Moms STL says this is an example of an area where they'd suspected nuclear waste might have made its way to, and they urged the Corps to test it. She says she's grateful the Corps is being responsive now, but
it feels like they're chasing a soccer ball that somebody kicked 60 years ago, and it's so far ahead of them, and they're trying to get their, arms around it. They're trying to find it all, much less clean it. They haven't even found it all. And I don't know. It's a very surreal feeling.
If you're in North County and suspect that dirt was moved onto your property even before you bought it, she says make a call. Still unknown is whether the nuclear waste made its way into the dirt before the clubhouse was built, or more troubling, if the dirt was contaminated later, perhaps due to flooding from Coldwater Creek. And if that is the case, could there be more contamination all around there?
I sure hope not.
Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Dr. L.J. Punch is a trauma surgeon. He was dealing with so many patients with gunshot wounds, he opened a clinic dealing with just that. But then there was another crisis.
The day the tornado went through St. Louis, it looked to me as if the city itself had been shot. And so I really have leaned heavily on the skills that I've learned from watching people work through that trauma of having their life threatened.
Punch is now also the director of 314 Oasis, which helps people on the north side with meals and other care. He says the trauma must be addressed. Otherwise, it can manifest itself in violence toward oneself or others.
Saturday is a day of remembrance at O'Fallon Park at 9 a.m. and Fountain Park at 1. Hear more from Dr. Punch at 8:11.
It is now 6:05, and the search should continue this morning at Spanish Lake Park for a man who reportedly fell into the lake and may have drowned. The call came to St. Louis County Police around 4 p.m. Sunday, but the search was postponed by 7. This comes as a woman drowned at that park 2 weeks ago. Her body surfaced near the St. Vrain picnic shelter.
5 people are in the hospital this morning after a Belleville apartment complex caught fire overnight. Firefighters responded to the burning 3-story building around 2 a.m. and rescued several people from a balcony on the 3rd floor. So far, they say the injuries reported are from smoke inhalation, not burns, according to Fox 2. One person is in critical condition.
Realtors in Missouri say the market is heating up.
Inventory is rising, but there's still stiff competition when houses hit the market. Missouri Realtors President Brian Jarrett says the best thing buyers can do is get pre-approved for financing.
Something that's new hits the market. Everybody wants to go rush to see the shiny penny, and sometimes those go fairly quick. And being ready and prepared gives you that upper hand for those who aren't.
Jarrett tells Missouri Net home sales in Missouri are up about 10% compared to this time last year. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
A public hearing on data center zoning will be held tonight. The city's Planning and Urban Design Agency says the point of the hearing is to establish clear and thoughtful rules on when and where data centers can be developed in St. Louis. The meeting will take place at City Hall at 5:30 p.m. and will have a virtual Zoom option. A second meeting is planned for next Monday, May 18th. The agency says a vote may be taken during that meeting to recommend the new regulations to the Board of Aldermen.
Gas prices in the St. Louis region are averaging $4.43 a gallon today. That is 23 cents higher than last week, almost $1.50 higher than a year ago. The good news, diesel only increased by 2 cents per gallon over the past week. Diesel is now $5.62 per gallon on average.
From the KMOX business desk, a judge has stopped the attorney general in her fight against Kratom. Jackson County Judge Charles McKenzie has denied Attorney General Catherine Hanaway's attempt to immediately pull the plug on several companies that sell what Hanaway calls hazardous opioids banned by the state and federal law. The judge ruled there are competing affidavits from experts on both sides and refused to issue a temporary restraining order, according to the Business Journal. He wants another hearing and more evidence.
It's coming up on 6:08. We'll check traffic and weather for you next.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home. I was diagnosed with postmenopausal osteoporosis and thought, am I going to step off a curb and break my ankle? My doctor said I needed to start treatment right away. He prescribed Divinity and my bone density improved. Now I like knowing I have stronger bones.
For women with postmenopausal osteoporosis at high risk for fracture, there's more you can do to strengthen your bones. Evenity is proven to significantly reduce spine fracture risk in 12 months. Elaine is a real Evenity patient. Individual results may vary. Evenity can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, or death from a heart problem. Tell your doctor if you have had a heart attack or stroke. Do not take Evenity if you have low blood calcium or are allergic to it, as serious events have occurred with Evenity. Signs include rash, hives, swelling of the face or throat, which may cause difficulty in swallowing or breathing, muscle spasms or cramps, numbness or tingling. Tell your doctor about severe jawbone problems as they have been reported with Evenity. Report hip, groin, or thigh pain. Unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred with Evenity. Ask your doctor about building new bone with Evenity.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Hey, it's 6:10. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're looking good out there right now, Tom. It's pretty easy going on a Monday morning so far for you. Just a little busy on 55 between Loughborough and Holly Hills. Really no big deal there. Not enough volume to even see a slowdown. Like I said, that's a very brief one. We're going to be starting up this morning. In fact, next hour, got a couple of projects going on. They're going to close Erkey-Horine Road under 55 for a month starting this morning at 7. I think the 7 this morning is when they start having restrictions on the ramp. The ramp's going to be closed, actually, westbound 270 to southbound 255. You're going to have to go to 111 to detour back eastbound to access that area now, and that'll be for a longer-term project as well. Double P, they're going to have restrictions off Highway 30 for a culvert replacement. That's a week-long deal. And then this week today is the first of 3 weeks. During the weekdays, we're going to have intermittent closures on westbound 70 at Highway Z in Wentzville up to 15 minutes at a time every weekday for the next 3 weeks for rock excavation work. And that ramp, the exit ramp to Highway Z, will also be closed during that time as well. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
A nice day today with plenty of sunshine. Our afternoon high 78, clear tonight, low 55. Sunshine mixing with clouds later tomorrow, breezy and quite warm in the afternoon, high 85. There can be a thunderstorm early tomorrow night. For Wednesday, back to sunshine, breezy and cooler, the high 75. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is sunny and 46 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis.
A French passenger who developed symptoms consistent with the hantavirus during the repatriation flight on Sunday has been quarantined in a Paris hospital and is being tested. 17 Americans aboard the ship hit with the virus were headed to the U.S. National Quarantine Unit in Nebraska. Though a concerning fact, they will not be required to stay there following evaluation. They will be free to drive to their homes.
The former CDC director, Dr. Robert Redfield, tells CNN he expects most passengers will have moderate to high risk exposure simply because they were on the cruise ship for so long with people who were infected.
And then they'll make a judgment in each individual case, whether they stay in the facility, whether they can be maintained in isolation by going home on their own, driving in a private vehicle, for example, so they don't put any risk to people on airplanes. It's important to realize this virus is very, very difficult to transmit.
Redfield says, unlike COVID, the CDC did not have any experience with that virus.
These viruses we've had for many, many years. The hantaviruses were a major virus that the U.S. government had to deal with during the Korean War.
Most of these hantaviruses only go rodent to person.
There is one exception, which is the Andes virus, which is the strain, unfortunately, that is involved in this ship and is circulating in Argentina. Many people may not know that since July last summer, they've had over 100 cases.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
2 of the 17 American citizens who were aboard the cruise ship hit by hantavirus were flown in biocontainment units. One passenger currently has mild symptoms. The other is tested mildly positive for the Andes virus, the strain of hantavirus on the ship.
You wouldn't think that peeling a banana or an orange could be banned in child care centers nationwide, but they are. There's bipartisan support in the U.S. House to change that. CNN's Camilla DeShalis says this bill will create a separate category for low-risk foods like bananas.
And these daycare facilities need to abide by certain regulations, and this could really trigger more of them to have health and kitchen requirements, for example, requiring them to have an extra sink or upgrading their kitchen facilities. Now, I spoke to a number of daycare providers, and they say that they really support this measure because it's going to strip some of these unnecessary regulations, and they say that it makes it harder for them to provide healthier food options for children.
Other child care experts say the goal is not to weaken food safety standards, but instead make it easier to distinguish between high-risk food preparation and low-risk items like fresh food.
Former St. Louis Police Chief Sam Dotson is now the dean of the business school at Webster University. Dotson was chief of police from 2012 to 2017, moved to Washington, D.C. to work corporate security for Amtrak. Dotson got his management degree from Webster. The school used a Chicago-based executive search firm to conduct the hiring process. Webster president Tim Keene says Dotson is an extraordinary leader with broad skills at 6:15. Redbird Report, sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis. I wish I had better news for you, but yesterday it came down to this. The Cardinals and Riley O'Brien. Nobody going better than O'Brien this season, except for maybe the Padres' Mason Miller, although the Cardinals put pressure on him. They loaded the bases on him on Saturday before coming up short. Cardinals won the first two games of this series, so they're down in this game, Saturday, but they bounce right back with a Jordan Walker home run to give them a 2-0 lead, and they hold that lead all the way until the ninth inning. O'Brien.
Not a lot going on offensively yet for the Padres, but they've got a runner on. The swing and a miss. He strikes out on Duhar. 1-2 the count. The pitch to France. Sweeper, swing and a miss. He struck him out.
As I mentioned, nobody going better than Riley O'Brien. He looks unhittable at times, but he's got to get one more, and that's Nick Castellanos. He's got him down to 2 strikes, runner on for the Padres. Cards up 2-0, bottom of the ninth.
O'Brien is ready. And the pitch. Here it comes. Swing and a long one to left field. That's deep, and it's gone, and we're tied at 2. Down to their last strike. The Padres strike with Nick Castellanos getting a hanging sweeper and hitting it into the bleachers. Cardinals 2, Padres 2.
Cardinals unable to score in the top of the 10th, and the Padres end it on a sac fly by Manny Machado in the bottom of the 10th. They get the win. They split the series with the Cardinals, a 4-game series in San Diego. Chip Carey with a disappointed manager, Ollie Marmol.
No doubt. Man, we played a good game. We knew it was going to be tight. Leahy did a really nice job of giving us a look through 5 there. Couldn't put a ton together offensively. Walker's homer was a big swing. Keeping it, these guys across the way to under 2 was going to be a tough one, but our bullpen did a really nice job, man. They got O'Brien. The guys leading up to that were excellent.
125 years, you set a franchise record for fewest hits allowed an opponent in a 4-game series. That speaks to the overall great work your starting staff and your bullpen did, today's results notwithstanding.
Yeah, that's a good lineup across the way. We held them down for the most part. Rotation did a nice job. Bullpen did a nice job. They got the closer today, but outside of that, man, the preparation's been incredible.
You guys have been able to flush good wins, tough losses. I'm sure that's the case going into Sacramento now.
No doubt. But what I love about this is you got a clubhouse that's pretty pissed right now. And that says something to not coming into this series feeling good about just splitting with these guys. They wanted to get Miller yesterday. They wanted to take the series and improve what they're all about. So I like the fact that the mood is what it is. The expectations are high, and I love it.
I know a day off is probably ready for everybody, but I know you can't wait to get back at it in a couple of days.
I'd like to go at it again, yeah.
Chip and Ollie, thanks very much. Now, the Cardinals, in their 3 other games, they won 6-0 in one of them, but only scored 2 runs in those other 3 games. We'll talk to Chaim Bloom, Cardinals president of baseball operations, about the bottom half of that lineup not producing and what Lars Nootbaar's future is with the club. That's coming at 6:22. Stanley Cup playoffs. Montreal beat Buffalo 6-2. They take a 2-1 lead in that series. Anaheim even things with Vegas with a 4-3 win. That series is even at 2 games apiece. Knicks swept the Sixers 144-114 in Game 4, and Minnesota evened things up with San Antonio, a 114-109 win. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
St. Louis Public Library is there for you, an incredible community resource. And with all the talk about gas prices and the economy, hey, they can save you tons of money because they've got so many free things that'll take you all the way through the summer. Just check it out now. May is also Asian American, Native, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Month. They've got resources there at their website, slpl.org. The library is also partnering with the Alzheimer's Association. They're offering a free series to help caregivers stay informed, manage responsibilities, and don't forget to explore Route 66. Celebrate the 100th anniversary with the St. Louis Public Library Quest. Just pick up your brochure at any circulation desk and start exploring. And make sure you join us on Facebook. Book Chat with Debbie Monterrey and St. Louis Public Library. Our author chat is tomorrow at noon, and our author is Martha Hall Kelly, the New York Times bestselling author of Lilac Girls, Lost Roses, her brand new on the Martha's Vineyard Beach and Book Club. But that's only if you are a member of Book Chat with Debbie Monterrey and St. Louis Public Library, slpl.org.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's a few more folks on the highways, Tom, as you get out the door and get going. There's a little slowdown northbound 55, approaching the Church Road overpass through 141 to the Merrimack there. And then it's more stop and go in pockets now, running from Bayless all the way up through Virginia. So a lot heavier on that north end there as you get into the city in that construction zone. If you're getting on to North 270, you're okay. 55 up through Gravois, past 44 through 64 Ladue, both directions 270 looking good there. Southbound 61, just a little busy at the 64 crossover, but 64 or 70 from that point look great across the Missouri River bridges. On the Illinois side, we're still okay. 64 westbound in Fairview Heights across the bridges downtown. Do have a little bit of volume on Route 3 around 8th Street. Really doesn't look bad for you there. So the rest of these roads continue to roll. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. Ready to refresh your space with furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
It's going to be a pretty nice day today, and it looks like sunshine, a high of 78 degrees, sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow, breezy with a high of 85, and then maybe a thunderstorm early tomorrow night, cooling things off a bit for Wednesday with a high of 75 with sunshine. Right now, it's 46 degrees downtown.
Each week, we get to visit with Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom. He does an exclusive weekly interview with KMOX on Sports on a Sunday morning. And he keeps us updated on everything happening within the organization. We know what we see at the major league level. The Cardinals split the series with the Padres, excruciating loss yesterday, a 3-2 loss in extra innings in which they had the Padres down to their last strike. But the Cardinals are focused on the future, and their organization reflects that. Their pitching prospect, Liam Doyle, continues to improve at Double-A Springfield. He recently had a tremendous outing in which he was striking out batters, showing off new pitches. Bloom reflects the work that is being done to shape Doyle?
Yeah, there are a few things there that have been going on behind the scenes to try to get him to a better spot, both in terms of where we're taking the arsenal, even in terms of some little mechanical things that he's doing that have been worked on in the last couple of weeks, couple things that our pitching team found that we think can get him to a better version of himself quicker. Even with all that, there's some things that he's doing that are taking him out of his comfort zone. Taking a pitcher who was basically in college a 2-pitch pitcher because he could be, and developing some usable breaking balls, and even some different fastball looks that ultimately have a chance to make him a top rotation major league starter. There's obviously a long way between now and then, but there were some things behind the scenes that are being worked on in the last couple outings. He's actually been able to take them into the game, and that's what you want to see. That's what the development process is for, and it's nice to see some of those things taking hold.
We did have a question on Twitter earlier. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. Could you ask Chaim what he's been seeing from Liam Doyle? We got to that. And an update on Tink Hence. This one is from Adam.
Yep. Yeah, so Tink, this one's been the tougher one. We obviously talked about this for a couple of years. You're talking about an incredibly athletic, hardworking kid who we've seen some of his top end on the field. We just haven't been able to see it consistently enough. And we actually have him right now out of competition at the moment just to try to rework some things with his routine so he can bring his best stuff into the game from pitch one when he comes into the game. We saw a trend in recent outings where he was actually coming into the game almost like he was kind of feeling his way into the outing. And obviously that's not something that will play at the big league level, even though he's been able to have occasional success with it at AAA. So there's been kind of a step back from competition just to try to rework a lot of different things in his routine and his preparation. Now, when I say preparation, don't get me wrong, this isn't a work ethic issue. This is a tremendous kid who really works hard. It's more about just trying to figure out what are the X's and O's of him leading up to coming into the game, whether it's, working backwards all the way from that first pitch to what is he doing in the bullpen, to what's he doing early in his day, what's he doing in the weight room, what's he doing in the training room, and just trying to find something that gets him to his top end right away when he comes into the game and that he can stay healthy doing for the course of a season. So we know we haven't quite found this one yet. So we're taking a step back, trying some different things and encouraged about where those might lead, but we'll have to see as he gets into this in the coming weeks. Last thing for you, and we've talked a ton of pitching here, but I do want to throw in an offensive question, even though we did discuss Weatherholt and others earlier. That top of the order, 1 through 4 especially, you got some bangers in there. I mean, there's no question about that. You have some big time hitters. The bottom half of the lineup sometimes comes up short, Chaim, and it does seem like you could use another bat in there. I guess what I'm leading into is how close is Lars? I think it'd be a lot to ask of Lars Nootbaar to just start slugging right after dealing with all that he's had to deal with. But how close is he? Well, hopefully at this point we're talking weeks. We are still on track at some point during the coming week to see him start a rehab assignment. And, we're still working through some final steps there to get him into competition. So I don't have an exact date for you, but we're pretty close to being able to do that. And from there, he's going to need, that full rehab assignment, because you got to remember he did not have spring training. So we want to make sure we get enough under him so that when we do activate him, which we're hoping, hopefully that'll be sometime early next month, that he can just jump right into things. Obviously, we're going to have to take care of him and build him up, but that he can jump in, go back to back. And, you think about this guy in like an ABS world, right? And how good his eye is, and that should play to his strengths. And hopefully that will put him in better position to have pitchers come to him and hopefully impact us right away. I mean, ideally when we get him out there, he's ready to do that.
That is Chaim Bloom with an update at the end there on Lars Nootbaar. We have Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations, all to us on KMOX every Sunday at 11:30. It's 6:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, what's coming up on Saturday? It is one of my favorite events, and maybe you've been. And if not, why not? It's the 31st annual Bark in the Park, and it's Saturday at Tower Grove Park. It is a huge event for the Humane Society of Missouri. You are invited. Your dog is invited. Your whole family is invited. Now, if you want to do the 5K or the fun There's a fun run and a walk. There is registration for that you can still get in on. But then everyone's invited to walk or enjoy the Purina Incredible Dog Team. There'll be free nail trims from Four Pretty Paws. Humane Society veterinarians will be on site. There's just so much to do. And also the Puppy Bowl MVP winner and the other stars from the Puppy Bowl who came from the Humane Society will be there, including Kylie, who is the 2026 Bark in the Park mascot. It is just so much fun for you and your dog at Tower Grove Park. And it's a free event for everyone to just come out and enjoy. Of course, there is a registration fee for the 5K, and you can still get in on that. So hsmo.org/bark. It's Bark in the Park for the Humane Society this Saturday at Tower Grove Park.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds. You can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It is 6:30. We've got sunshine in downtown St. Louis. It's 46 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Man, it's a little bit busier out there. If you're heading up on northbound 55 right now, McNutt up to Highway Z, you're bogged down. It's just north of Richardson Road up to the Merrimack and that work zone, pretty busy and slow. And then stop and go pretty much the whole way from the Union Road overpass all the way up through about Virginia on northbound 55 after that. If you're getting onto North 270, the right lanes are a little busy at Butler Hill, but once you hit North 270, good to go up past 44, up past 64 in Ladue in the construction zone. There's a little bit more volume on southbound 61, but it's just slow from Wentzville Parkway down to 64 or 70. Once you get on one of those highways, you're good to go out across the Missouri River bridges. Look good on the Illinois side, 64 through O'Fallon, Fairview Heights, and the bridges downtown are still clear for Illinois drivers as well. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine today, a high of 78 degrees, clear low 55 tonight. The sun's back tomorrow, very warm in the afternoon tomorrow, a high of 85. Currently, we have a sunny sky in downtown St. Louis. It's 47 degrees.
The radioactive zone expands yet again after the discovery of nuclear contamination at a large St. Louis County apartment complex.
As we first reported Friday, the Army Corps of Engineers says new testing uncovered radioactivity in the soil underneath the clubhouse of the former French Quarter apartments in Hazelwood, while the Corps says they believe it ends there.
I would describe it as a hot spot.
Dawn Chapman of the group Just Moms STL says the testing at the site came 60 years too late. Countless families lived there, and since applications opened for compensation from the feds, she's noticed a trend.
And that's the heartbreaking thing. Even before we knew they were testing, about a month ago, and even now that they found it underneath and are going to tear down the clubhouse, we had a lot of people that used to live in that complex that are very, very sick, that have lost family. A lot of people we have helped with RECA claims, and that's kind of stood out to us as soon as the applications opened.
She says people can move on from apartment complexes quickly, so former residents from years ago may not even know about the history of Manhattan Project dumping in St. Louis and the possible danger to them. Chapman says one big outstanding question: was radioactive soil dumped on the clubhouse spot, or was it contaminated later through the flooding of Coldwater Creek? Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Trauma surgeon Dr. L.J. Punch, no stranger to gunshot wounds, says when the tornado hit last May, it felt like the city had been shot. He launched 314 Oasis to help feed and care for people, knowing the trauma people were experiencing.
When we have threats against us and we don't have a way to resolve them and feel safe and cared for, it will turn into all kinds of behaviors that can be harmful to us and harmful to other people.
Dr. Punch says after Hurricane Katrina, survivors spent much of the first year in survival mode, but then came increasing rates of suicide, violence, and desperation.
And we then sometimes blame people for those behaviors without recognizing the root that they come from.
Since last May, 314 Oasis has served more than 40,000 meals, helped with utility bills and lost IDs, even provided acupuncture and massage therapy. Hear more from Dr. Punch at 8:11 this morning.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com at 634.
It's not really a sports show. It's just a show.
So I don't really have a sports show, but I love the Cardinals. I am born and bred St. Louis, went to my first game like so many of you, 4 years old. Couldn't believe how green it was standing there next to the players with my dad. And now I go with my kids. You get it. So when you listen to the DGS, it's going to be a slice of life happy hour, but we're always going to talk Cardinals.
The Dave Glover Show at 1. Then stick around for Cardinals baseball.
Save big on everything at Menards. Add privacy and style to any room with window images, blinds, and shades. We have everything you need for updating your window treatments. We carry vinyl, aluminum, and faux wood blinds, cellular shades, and more. Plus, get them trimmed to width in-store for free. View our entire selection of window treatments today on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer and find all the great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Working families are being impacted by higher electricity prices while utility profits increase. Competition lowers electricity's cost, but that's not what your utility wants. Your state legislation rejected their legislation to eliminate competition. Now your utility is trying to ignore them and ask DC for monopoly favors, putting corporate profits over protecting consumers. Hardworking taxpayers deserve better. Call your congressional leaders today. Ask them to tell FERC to say no to no-bid billion-dollar transmission projects paid for by the Electricity Transmission Competition Coalition.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years. Note to self, send flowers.
Up to 50% off. Save on chairs, paper, balloons, and more.
Balloons?
Yeah, Party City is now at Staples.
Surprise!
But the anniversary sale is only 2 weeks, so...
Quick, celebrate 40 years of savings at Staples with up to 50% off. Shop chairs, paper, break room supplies, and more. 2 weeks only in 523.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app.
Your Money Report at 6:36, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. From the drive-thru to Wall Street, the company behind Dunkin', Sonic, and Arby's is becoming a public company. Inspire Brands has filed for initial public offering. Inspire's holdings also include Baskin-Robbins, Jimmy John's, and Buffalo Wild Wings. The company has more than 33,000 restaurants in 60 markets globally. The S&P 500 kicking off the week at a record high. Stocks have been getting support from technology shares, even as the war continues to rage on. S&P and Dow futures are little changed. On Friday, signs of labor market strength sent stocks higher. The S&P 500 gained 0.8%. And Google parent Alphabet may be on the verge of overtaking NVIDIA as the world's most valuable company. The gap between the two has narrowed considerably over the past 6 months, with just $400 billion in market value between them. Alphabet has taken the lead in nearly every aspect of artificial intelligence. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
You know, siding and windows, these are replacements that upgrade your home's exterior, not only aesthetically pleasing, but energy efficiency, premium siding options from Banner Construction. They're going to help you choose the perfect material and style to enhance your curb appeal. Banner Construction, whether it's with James Hardy siding or premium vinyl siding, they will make your home look beautiful. Window replacements, new windows can significantly improve your home's energy efficiency, security, noise reduction. They offer superior styles and materials to suit your needs and budget. Only the best. Pella Windows, James Hardy siding. This is Banner Construction and what they do for you. Siding and windows, there's really only one place to trust right now, and that's Banner Construction. Don't try to go with one of these companies that cuts corners. That usually leads to really, really bad results. Banner Construction, 314-569-1050, bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Are you an adult with uncontrolled moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms and still packing a backup bag of clothes? Just in case, Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza can help you take control of your Crohn's. Feel significant symptom relief, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements at 4 weeks. Plus, Skyrizi is proven to help people achieve remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Individual results may vary. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's. Ready to take control of your Crohn's? Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease.
Control is everything to me.
Learn more at skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It is 6:40 and time to get you updated on traffic and weather. Let's start with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've got slow going coming up on 55 right now, Debbie. This traffic reports service of S&L Coins from McNutt up to Highway Z. I think there was a stall there. It's just a slowdown, though. I think it's on the shoulder now. And then you've got heavy traffic north of Richardson up to the Merrimack. The right lanes are on Butler Hill through Mattis. Stop and go pockets then after that from about Bayless all the way up through Virginia. North 270 if you're ramping on 55 is a good run up through Gravois 44. The right lanes are bogging down north of Manchester up to 64. South 270 still looks okay in the area. If you're on the run up on southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway down to 64, slow, but after that, 64 and 70 through the Wentzville area continue to cruise along. On the Illinois side, just a little busy westbound 64 at 159, not that bad. This traffic reports the service of S&L Coins, and Route 3 just a little busy coming up from Monsanto through 8th Street, but again, doesn't look all that bad so far. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. What a fantastic weather forecast for the next day or two.
Yeah, the next few days really look pretty nice across the area, Tom. Lots of sunshine today, our high 78. And tonight should be clear, a little bit milder than last night at 55. It'll be breezy and very warm tomorrow. Sunshine will start to mix with clouds in the afternoon ahead of the next front. We get to 85. As that front comes through tomorrow night early, there can be a thunderstorm with it. Then behind it, it clears out. That means a mostly sunny, breezy, cooler, but nice day for Wednesday with a high in the mid-70s. We'll be in the mid-70s again Thursday with sunshine. Gets a little cloudier Friday, and there could be a thunderstorm, the high 84, and I do think it heats up to start the weekend. Right now, it's a cool 45 at St. Peter's, 51 in Florissant, sunshine, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:42. The possible infection of a French passenger on the repatriation flight has developed symptoms consistent with the hantavirus. Americans also airlifted to the U.S. National Quarantine Unit in Nebraska for evaluation, though they are not being required to quarantine.
Former CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield says the U.S. has experience with hantavirus, unlike when COVID started. However, the Andes virus, which is the strain on board the cruise ship that people contracted, has more than 100 cases in Argentina since last July.
And it's moved out of Patagonia into central Argentina. And one of the things that has people, taking this quite seriously, of those 100 patients, they've had about a 35 to 40% human mortality. So this is a dangerous virus if you get it, but it's very hard to get.
Redfield says the hantavirus incubation period between the time a person develops symptoms and is infected takes a long time, as much as 8 weeks.
So I'm more conservative and say, well, it's probably better to keep these people out of the public domain until that incubation period is over. Now that you see the consequences, now you have an individual flying on a public plane to France, and now you have other people who are on that plane, and you're going to have other people now defined as high-risk contacts, because if you were sitting next to this person on the plane for 2 or 3 hours, that's a high-risk contact.
Redfield says he's confident in the CDC and adds they will make the assessment in Nebraska and then make the decision if the Americans should remain in Nebraska, where they could be incubating the infection.
Or do they feel that the likelihood of infection is low enough that they can go home and still stay in an isolated environment and let the local public health officials of each of the states continue to monitor them? And they'll be monitored on a daily basis for the development of symptoms.
Redfield says his concern, hantavirus symptoms are very nondescript: fever, malaise, diarrhea, nausea, headache, which could be the flu, an upper respiratory virus infection. So it's very difficult to distinguish early on.
After you've gone through that period, say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days into infection, then you develop what we call the hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which is a quite severe complication, frequently associated with death. But initially it's hard. Do I have the flu? Do I have the COVID virus? So in a way, it's easier to monitor them in a more contained environment.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
2 of the 17 American citizens who were aboard the cruise ship hit by the hantavirus were flown in biocontainment units. One passenger currently has mild symptoms, and the other has tested positive for the Andes virus, the strain that was on the ship.
Let's get to baseball and who's hot, who's not. Sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. At what point do you say that this guy is just having a year and he is not slowing down? His name is Jordan Walker, and he's at the plate in the 4th inning as the Cardinals took on the Padres in San Diego.
Really checks Burleson. He comes to the plate. And there's a long drive to left field. Way back, way out of here, as Jordan Walker has just given the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. And Ricky, I'll let you tell everyone how far that one traveled.
Well, you saw me jump when I saw where it landed. It landed in the top deck of the stadium down the left field line, the Western Metal Supply Company. There's a bottom row, there's a middle row, and there's a top row, and it hit right off the top row, a long, long way from home plate.
Cardinals held that 2-0 lead until the 9th inning. Riley O'Brien gets 2 strikeouts, but a runner is on base. He has Nick Castellanos down to 1 more strike to end the game and help the Cardinals take 3 of 4 in the series.
O'Brien is ready. And the pitch. Here it comes. Swing and a long one to left field. That's deep and it's gone. And we're tied at 2. Down to their last strike. The Padres strike with Nick Castellanos getting a hanging sweeper and hitting it into the bleachers. Cardinals 2, Padres 2.
Padres scored in the bottom of the 10th, a sac fly by Manny Machado, and they win the game 3-2. They split the series with the Cardinals, who remain in second place in the NL Central, 3.5 games behind the Cubs, who have also lost back-to-back games. Cards have the day off today, and they'll visit the A's in Sacramento tomorrow. College basketball discussed on KMOX yesterday. This St. Louis University team is going to be very talented. They have 9 players returning, and they went out in the transfer portal to try to add length, and they did that very thing. Alone McKaylee, 6'9" forward from Colorado. Elijah Strong, 6'8" forward from South Carolina. And John Burroughs' product, redshirted last year, 6'11", Sheik Pearson from Marquette, Coach Josh Schertz.
Yeah, it's I think you go after, and you try to identify, the bigs. This market was unique. Bigs were first off, supply and demand. There's a scarcity of big. So the ones that really could help us, the competition was fierce. And it was expensive. And so, you have both those things you're balancing because you're balancing a budget, you're balancing tremendous competition. And you want to make sure you get it right. And we want to play a certain style. But again, I think it's I look at it more of like you get the players, then you bend the system to the strengths of the players, right? Not so much of, you have a system and the players have to fit into that. And
not to mention they added 6'9" forward Jamison White, originally a Penn State signee, and he reopened his recruitment, and now he is a Billiken. He's a St. Louis product as well. The son of Jahidi White, East St. Louis product, Jamison White. This Billikens team is going to be fun. They're going to start practicing next month. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX, St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. What a great company. And here's what they do. They transform organic yard waste, branches, leaves, grass clippings, and more into premium compost through a 6-month static composting process. They are the largest and most trusted compost provider in the St. Louis area, St. Louis Composting, and they're committed to producing only the best. All of their products are STA certified. STA stands for Seal of Testing Assurance, and they proudly offer compost for organic gardening and farming. So whether you're looking for bulk compost or just a few bags, St. Louis Composting provides an extensive selection of STA certified compost, soil blends, and mulches. You can visit one of their 9 facilities in St. Louis or just order online, stlcompost.com, for convenient delivery. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KingdomOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:51. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we got a little trouble on eastbound 44 right now. This traffic reports service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A crash involving a passenger car and looks like a pickup truck hauling a gooseneck trailer. They're blocking, multiple left lanes eastbound 44 just before the Merrimack River. Only the right shoulder is open right now. The jam's only back to Bulls, but it'll probably get worse. Emergency crews are on the way. Northbound Highway 55, you got a little slowdown running through McNutt. There's still slow traffic approaching 141 to the Merrimack. The right lanes are a little busy at Butler Hill, and then they're stopped from Bayless all the way up to Holly Hills. North 270. Barely a slowdown at Crafaway, but it is approaching Manchester all the way up to Ladue. Southbound 61 north of Wentzville Parkway down to 64, slow. But once you get on to 64 or 70, both great runs coming out of Wentzville. Eastbound 64 a little heavy past 170. On the Illinois side, still looking good on 64 and 5570 headed across the bridges. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for their 26-point tune-up. It's one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Roger, we have a great day today. It's going to be sunny and pleasant and a high of 78. Clear, low 55 tonight. Tomorrow, sunny and warm with a high of 85. Now, there can be a thunderstorm early tomorrow night, says Joe Lundberg, but then that'll cool things off Wednesday, Thursday. Beautiful, beautiful days. Mostly sunny each day and a high of 75 degrees. Currently, it's 47 in Florissant, 46 in St. Peters, sunny and 48 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:53. Time to check in with our CBS News business analyst, Jill Schlesinger. And for people graduating from college with a mountain of debt, they're looking at the job market, Jill, and they're not feeling so great.
Oof, yeah. Actually got a brand new poll out this morning from Gallup that kind of speaks to this. I sent you guys this note over the weekend because I was hearing a lot from parents of college grads, and they're saying the market's tough. And I was kind of diving into this, especially because we had the Labor Department report that came out on Friday, which showed that there was job creation, like there were jobs created. The interesting thing about that report, it kind of looks pretty decent, which I'm happy to take. But underneath it, we also find out that the unemployment rate for recent college grads is higher than the overall rate for all college grads. So we know that younger people are having a hard time getting jobs. And in this Gallup poll, it was kind of interesting. It showed a high level of pessimism, and we have seen that across the board in other measures. Like we had a state of the graduate report from Monster, the big job search site. I think that what's really happening is that we are seeing junior level job postings fall. And we're also really hearing from the young people who you think would be like on the leading edge of technology. They are freaked out that AI is going to take their job. And I hear this over and over and over from the students themselves, the young workers, as well as their families.
What are some tips that you would pass along to people looking in that area in their 20s and 30s, let's say?
I think what's important is that you really try to figure out who you can access at any company where you are, or organization where you're applying. It may make you feel terrible. I mean, and I know parents hate this because they're like, oh, my kid won't do this. I had a colleague at work who said, oh, my daughter wants to go into banking, but she doesn't know how to break in. I said, well, tell her to give me a call. When I said, what happened to your daughter? She never showed up. What's going on? She didn't call me. He said, oh, well, she was embarrassed. Embarrassed? Use every connection you have. Everyone else is. And this really, I mean, even if you said to me, hey, could you talk to so-and-so, my cousin's third brother's wife, whoever? Yes, of course. People want to help you. So make sure that you do that, because when you enter a resume into the general pool of a labor market, you would like to have a human being take it out and sort of reroute it to the person who could help you out. Do those practice interviews. You know what? It's tough. I know that this is a hard thing when you come out. You're like, I worked so hard. Everyone told me I needed a college degree. The first years are not the most important years of your career. You're going to just get a job. It's not going to be your dream job. I don't know about you guys, but getting the foot in the door was the most important thing. Even a lousy job will teach you something, right?
It absolutely will. for better or for worse.
Exactly right. So try to, I think that's really important. And saying yes to opportunities. I think that if somebody says to you, I really could use another set of hands in my blank, whatever. And the kid's like, well, I don't know how to do that. Just tell them to apply. Someone wants somebody who's like, oh, you're a decent human being who knows how to think. Great. That'll be a great job to just learn something.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger, JillOnMoney.com. Have a great week.
Take care. Thank you.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
The birthday shout out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday wishes to Nora Many from the Spring family, Corliss Lapp, John Berg, Sam Wisman from Grandma and Grandpa Wiss, Rhonda Dupraz, Jennifer Adams from Grandma and Grandpa Adams, Joe Sonderman celebrating today. So are Nina Needleman and Frank Cusimano.
This is the best birthday ever.
Did you try and sell your house over the weekend? Maybe you had an open house, people coming in and out. Maybe you got some offers. Maybe you didn't. Maybe they weren't what you were hoping for. It might be a good time for you to call Gloria Liu. Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Some of her best clients are ones who have already had another agent, sometimes a couple of other agents, and that's fine. Maybe you've got a lot of questions because the process hasn't been going well. Gloria is always there to answer questions. She's got a bunch of different ways she can sell your home if you didn't like the way you were trying to do it the first time. And the other great thing about Gloria is that she will guarantee that she'll sell your home. She'll put that in writing. She will sell your home at the price and time frame acceptable to you, or she will buy it herself. She'll also sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. Can other agents do the same? I think not. Gloria Lou, 314-325-6888. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin, WashU Medicine medical oncologist at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Jin, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
What are some of the signs and symptoms of esophageal cancer? When should someone talk to their physician?
The first signs that I typically hear about from my patients, difficulty swallowing. They'll initially start with solids and then progressively get worse. So those are the most alarming signs. And then associated with that, pain upon swallowing, there might be a cough, weight loss. So I think the first step, if you have any alarming symptoms, is talk with your primary care and really, ask them if you're appropriate to be screened.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
Well, we've got trouble on eastbound 44 right now. This injury crash, eastbound 44 west of the Merrimack River Bridge. Before you get to 270, only the right shoulder is sneaking by. It's a standstill jam back through Bowles Avenue. It's probably going to get worse. 30 Manchester, Big Bend, Doherty Ferry look good as alternates right now. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We've just heard from the captain of the luxury cruise ship hit with a deadly outbreak of hantavirus. Jan Dobrogowski's posted a video message.
Most importantly, our thoughts are with the ones that are no longer with us. And whatever I say will not ease this loss.
3 people have died. Others are infected. Among them, at least 1 American. Correspondent Vicki Barker from London.
One of the 17 American passengers evacuated to a Nebraska quarantine facility overnight has tested positive for hantavirus, and another is experiencing mild symptoms. One French woman developed symptoms during her evacuation flight. Her condition has worsened, and she has now tested positive. 20 Britons off the MV Hondius are spending their first day in quarantine here after being airlifted from the Canary Islands. The last people on board are being taken off the cruise ship today, almost certainly to face strict quarantine in their home countries.
More than 100 passengers on a Caribbean Prince cruise ship, Princess, are reportedly sick with norovirus. Passenger Donna Leonti says they've been placed in isolation.
They were asked to all stay in their room and quarantine. They're being checked on every single day by the medical staff.
Several crew members also sick. The CDC says the line is following all protocols to treat the infected and sanitize the ship. President Trump has rejected Iran's latest offer to end the war. He says Tehran's not willing to budge on its nuclear program or unblock the Strait of Hormuz. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu weighed in with CBS's Major Garrett on last night's 60 Minutes.
Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium that has to be taken out of Iran.
Wartime pricing is still hitting drivers hard at the gas pump. The average for a gallon of regular in the U.S. today is at $4.52. Now, Trump administration officials are floating the idea of pausing the national gas tax. Correspondent Nancy Cordes at the White House.
Georgia, Indiana, and Utah have already reduced or suspended state gas taxes. Putting the brakes on the federal tax would save drivers roughly 18 cents a gallon, but it would cost the federal government about $500 million each week.
Seniors warming up to weed. CBS's Jared Hill.
According to a new study out of the universities of Utah and Colorado Boulder, older adults are not using cannabis for its psychedelic properties, rather to manage sleep, pain, or mental health. The survey was conducted in Colorado, where recreational marijuana use is legal.
This is CBS News.
I want to know what's going on in the world. I'm Tony. There are big questions that all of us are asking. I want to get you the answers. How are you? I'm Tony DeCopel. Join me on the CBS Evening News.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
It is 7:04. We've got sunshine and 48 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Dr. L.J. Punch, known by some for the gunshot clinic he opened, the trauma surgeon, is now also helping people whose lives were threatened by last May's tornado. He's the director of 314 Oasis.
We've done over 250 days of service. We have served over 40,000 meals. We have provided connection to everything from ID assistance to utility payments to transportation support to direct care with acupuncture and massage therapy to hundreds of people.
Dr. Punch says the tornado revealed the baseline lack of infrastructure in the city to help people who are unhoused, and then overnight, thousands of people were displaced.
Dr. Punch invites the community Saturday to O'Fallon Park at 9 a.m. or Fountain Park at 1 for a day of remembrance. You can hear more from Dr. Punch at 8:11 this morning.
It's 7:05. The search should continue this morning at Spanish Lake Park for a man who reportedly fell into the lake and may have drowned. The call came into St. Louis County Police around 4 p.m. yesterday, but the search was postponed by 7. This comes as a woman drowned at the park 2 weeks ago. Her body surfaced near the St. Vrain picnic shelter.
Missouri real estate agents say they are seeing an uptick in business this spring over last year.
We're on the right track.
Missouri Realtors President Brian Jared.
We're starting to move away. Rates are coming down a little bit. They went back up a little bit here and there, but they overall things have been very steady. So we're seeing a good increase.
Jared said home sales across the state are up about 10% over a year ago. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
There are growing concerns as Americans disembarked from the cruise ship hit with the hantavirus that this could make its way into the United States, but global health officials are trying to calm fears.
The American passengers were being brought to Nebraska to the National Quarantine Unit, which is federally funded. However, here's the problem. The passengers can drive home without exposing other people on the way. They would then be monitored by the state or local health departments. The acting director of the CDC says there are no indications this hantavirus is like COVID. Dr. Robert Redfield, former CDC director, is weighing in on CNN, saying he believes the CDC's response has been appropriate.
They obviously met Americans in the Canary Islands, did a risk assessment of the individuals, and obviously they're meeting them again when they arrive in Nebraska.
Redfield says that Nebraska facility in the U.S. is able to evaluate people that have significant pathogens.
I suspect most of them will probably have moderate to high risk exposure just for the fact that they were on the vessel for that period of time.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
2 of the 17 American citizens who were aboard the cruise ship hit by hantavirus were flown in biocontainment units. One passenger currently has mild symptoms. The other tested positive for the Andes virus with the strain of hantavirus on the ship.
From the KMOX business desk, a judge has stopped the attorney general in her fight against Kratom. Jackson County Judge Charles McKenzie has denied Attorney General Catherine Hanaway's attempt to immediately pull the plug on several companies that sell what Hanaway calls hazardous opioids banned by state and federal law. The judge ruled there are competing affidavits from experts on both sides and refused to issue a temporary restraining order, according to the Business Journal. The judge wants another hearing and more evidence.
It's 7:08, traffic and weather next.
You guys know Zero Res, the zero residue carpet cleaner that leaves your carpets truly clean with no dirt attracting soaps or harsh chemicals. Don't risk it with the other guys and skip the do-it-yourself disasters that leave your carpet soaked for days and can do more harm than good. Keep the mud outside where it belongs, not trapped in your carpets. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet, zero resified, starting at just $139, 314-474-2020, or visit ZeroResSTL.com. Ask for the DGS special.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
7:10 in time for Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've still got our one trouble spot we talked about at the top of the hour, Debbie. This crash with injuries eastbound 44 before the Merrimack River, before you get to 270. Eastbound 44, only the right lane. It is the right lane now. Earlier it was the shoulder. Right lane's getting by, but only one lane open. So it's a solid jam. Slow as you approach 141, and a solid jam just east of there up to this crash just before you get to 270. More folks are taking eastbound 30. It's busy, not a solid jam, but it's busy from West Watson most of the way up the hill to 270. Doherty Ferry and Big Bend on the north side of 44 still look okay as alternate routes. So does Manchester over to 270, just to keep you apprised of what your options are in the area, obviously. If you're on northbound 55, you've got slow traffic coming up from, let's call it north of Richardson up through the 141 area. The right lane's bogged down. Approaching Butler Hill to 270, and then from Bayless up through Virginia, you're pretty slow. North 270, north of 55 through Gravois is busy. Those ramps from 64 to north 270 are backing up as well. 364 through Gudermouth looks a little busy out west. Otherwise, 70 and 64 in the Wentzville area are fine. And on the Illinois side, things still don't look bad. We just have a little slowdown right now on westbound 64 passing 159, but after that, you're good to go across the Poplar and Musial Veterans Bridges. Next update is 720 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, plenty of sunshine and beautiful today. The high 78, then clear tonight, low 55. Sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow, breezy and very warm in the afternoon, high 85. Watch out for a thunderstorm early tomorrow night. For Wednesday, mostly sunny, breezy and cooler, but quite nice, the high 75. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It's 48 in Florissant, 47 in St. Peter's, bright sunny sky, 49 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is now 7:12, and it is possible with bipartisan U.S. House legislation that certain food items like bananas and oranges could once again be served in child care programs. Right now, workers cannot peel a banana or an orange because of strict food prep guidelines. We get more details from CNN's Carmilla DeChalis.
That's more complicated in saying that these regulations really are in place and exist to really protect children. So the question here is just how really this legislation can help. But if there's more legislation that needs to be introduced in Congress to really address some of the challenges that daycare facilities face on a day-to-day basis. But at this time, what we do know is that this measure now heads to the Senate, but it's still unclear when they're going to vote on it.
The House will create a separate category for low-risk foods like bananas.
Former St. Louis Police Chief Sam Dotson has a new gig, Dean of the Business School at Webster University. Dotson was Chief of Police from 2012 to 2017, then moved to Washington, D.C. to work corporate security for Amtrak. Dotson got his management degree from Webster. The school used a Chicago-based executive search firm to conduct the hiring process. Webster president Tim Keene says Dotson is an extraordinary leader with broad skills.
9 childcare centers throughout the area are closing today in order to spotlight the childcare crisis in our region and a demand for public funding for it. Today is the 5th annual National Day Without Childcare, and parents and providers plan to use these closures to canvass the communities to garner support for their ballot initiative to win public funding. The group says for years, childcare costs have been adding up and providers have been shouldering the burden. They want a universal childcare system that lifts the burden off of families and providers and invests in the youngest generation to give them the strongest start possible.
A public hearing on data center zoning will be held tonight. The city's Planning and Urban Design Agency says the point of the hearing is to establish clear and thoughtful rules on when and where data centers can be developed in St. Louis. The meeting will take place at City Hall at 5:30 and will have a virtual Zoom option. A second meeting is planned for next Monday, May 18th. The agency says a vote may be taken during that meeting to recommend the new regulations to the Board of Aldermen.
A golf course in St. Louis will be visited by several APGA golfers this week. Advocates Professional Golf Association Tour, a nonprofit organization aiming to develop underrepresented and minority golfers. One of them is Trey Rustoven, Fort Zumwalt East High School graduate. He'll not only be participating in the home tournament, but will be coaching a children's clinic tomorrow.
It's a fun time to teach the kids about the game, and hopefully they can get into the game a little more and they see what we're doing and maybe want to do that themselves.
The tournament takes place at Glen Echo Country Club tomorrow through Thursday.
I actually talked to Dan Reardon about the history of St. Louis golf and why so many events take place here. A rich history, an enthusiastic community for the sport. Here's our KMOX senior golf editor.
Well, we have a lot of history going back in time. You know, we can talk about BMW coming up. We can talk about the 2019 PGA. But, you know, Ben Hogan won a major championship in St. Louis. Gene Littler won at St. Louis. Lee Trevino won in St. Louis. So we've had really good moments when big-time golf has been. And that's just mentioning the men. You know, the other day I happened to be in the company of Ellen Port, who was honored with the Bob Jones Award. I got a chance to talk to Barbara Birkmeyer, who's won, I think, 5 or 6 state amateur championships in her lifetime. There's a lot of history that goes into this community, and I think we benefit from that.
That is Dan Reardon as the PGA Championship begins this week in Philadelphia. He will be there reporting for KMOX. Now to baseball.
It was a tough loss for the Cardinals yesterday in San Diego. They ended up splitting the series as the Cardinals lost 3-2 in extra innings. The first extra inning loss for the Cardinals in 2026. The Padres are now 2-0 in extras as they were able to score in the 10th inning on a sacrifice fly by Manny Machado that came off of Gordon Graceffo, who was the loser, an unearned run, but a loss nonetheless. But the big hit came in the bottom of the 9th inning with the Padres down to their last strike. Nick Castellanos hit a 2-run home run with 2 strikes after fouling off several pitches, and that tied the game off of Riley O'Brien trying to save his 12th, and the Cardinals ended up losing it in 10 innings. A good start for Kyle Leahy, but no win. The Cardinals will go on Tuesday night with Andre Palante, 3-3. He'll be up against Jeffrey Springs. Our pregame start is at 7:45, first pitch at 8:40. This has been your Redbird Recap.
Cut of the game sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. You think I'm going to play the Castellanos home run? Absolutely not. I'm playing this one. Listen to the sound of the ball off the bat here from Jordan Walker.
Buehler checks Burleson. He comes to the plate. And there's a long drive to left field. Way back, way out of here as Jordan Walker has just given the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. And, Ricky, I'll let you tell everyone how far that one traveled.
Well, you saw me jump when I saw where it landed. It landed in the top deck of the stadium down the left field line, the Western Metal Supply Company. There's a bottom row, there's a middle row, and there's a top row, and it hit right off the top row, a long, long way from home plate.
Jordan Walker continues to excel. He has another big weekend, a home run for him in that 3-2 loss. But Walker, going into this series against the A's, has 11 home runs and 29 RBIs, and he's hitting .299. Cardinals have the day off today, the A's tomorrow. Stanley Cup playoffs, the Montreal Canadiens, their goaltender with a 6-2 win over the Buffalo Sabres. Jakob Dobish made 26 saves. He grew up in St. Louis, went to De Smet. 6-2 win for the Canadiens. They take a 2-1 series lead on Buffalo. Anaheim beat Vegas 4-3. That series is even at 2 games apiece. The New York Knicks won by 30, beat Philadelphia 144-114 to sweep the Sixers. And Minnesota even things up with the Spurs. Timberwolves win at 114-109. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Lunch was great, but this traffic is awful.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Working families are being impacted by higher electricity prices while utility profits increase. Competition lowers electricity's costs, but that's not what your utility wants. Your state legislation rejected their legislation to eliminate competition. Now your utility is trying to ignore them and ask DC for monopoly favors, putting corporate profits over protecting consumers. Hardworking taxpayers deserve better. Call your congressional leaders today. Ask them to tell FERC to say no to no-bid billion-dollar transmission projects paid for by the Electricity Transmission Competition Coalition.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it's 7:20 and time for us to check in with Roger Brand. It is time for traffic and weather. Roger's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, unfortunately, Debbie, there's no change with our trouble spot, our main trouble spot here on eastbound 44 west of the Merrimack, west of 270. Only the right lane is getting by this earlier injury crash. Traffic is slow east of Antiron, jams at 141 to 270. As an alternate route, 30 is getting busier. It's stop and go now from 141 all the way to 270. But on the north side, those alternate routes still don't look bad. If you want to take Big Bend over to 270 or Doherty Ferry from Big Bend over to 270, Manchester east of 141 to 270, they all look good as alternate routes up north of 44. Northbound 270, as you ramp on from 55 is heavy, then Tesson Ferry through Gravois, it's slow, just a little busy past 64 after that. Eastbound 364 east of K is a little slow. Eastbound 70 at the Rock Road, a little busy. Northbound 55, still heavy approaching 141 to Merrimack. The right lane south of Butler Hill to 270, and all lanes from Bayless up through Holly Hills are busy. And westbound 64, still traffic both sides of 159, but after that, it looks good across the bridges downtown. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Hey, St. Louis, need to sell your home fast? The Gelman team with eXp Realty can make you an instant cash offer in just 24 hours. No showings, no repairs, no waiting. Visit thegelmanteam.com or give them a call at 314-336-1991.
Our weather. Joe Lundberg says it's going to be pleasant and sunny with a high of 78 today. Clear, low 55 tonight. Tomorrow, sunny and warm, high 85 with a thunderstorm in play early tomorrow night. Currently, we have 49 degrees with sun downtown at the Arch.
It is 722. It's what neighborhood advocates had been saying for years. Radioactive contamination around North County's Coldwater Creek is likely far more expansive than previous testing has shown. Now, an apartment complex clubhouse is testing hot and needs to be demolished. KMOX's Michael Calhoun speaks with Just Mom STL's Dawn Chapman about what comes next.
This on your radar as a potential source of concern?
So this clubhouse has been on our radar for over 13 years. And that creek floods everywhere. And that location, we've been worried about the people that live there. And, only a few years ago with the big flood in July, it was condemned. So there's nobody been living there for 3 years, but people live there for decades.
Any, reports from families who've lived there of illnesses that may be connected to this contamination?
Absolutely. And that's the heartbreaking thing. Even before we knew they were testing, about a month ago, and even now that they found it underneath and are going to tear down the clubhouse, we had a lot of people that used to live in that complex that are very, very sick, that have lost family. A lot of people we have helped with RECA claims. And that's kind of stood out to us as soon as the applications opened, as I would describe it as a hot spot.
Now, I can recall a few weeks ago, there was, maybe it was a few months ago, there was a news item about a handful of homes that were being demolished. And I think Maria Kina talked with you, and you said this is just the tip of the iceberg. They should not be saying this is the extent of where they think the contamination is. Is this kind of proof that it does extend beyond just that handful of homes that are being taken out?
It is. And I think, the agencies are saying, well, nobody lives there now. And it's like, yeah, they lived there up until 3 years ago, and they lived there for decades. And I think that, we're very thankful that the Army Corps went in there and tested. I mean, they're doing what we ask. It's just, gosh, Michael, it's like they're 60 years too late.
Was this testing something they were already going to do, or did local folks have to push for this? And are there any other areas now that are set to be tested?
That's a great question. So they tested the land, and then they kind of like worked their way up to the clubhouse, if you will. They kept testing and finding it, and then had to keep testing beyond that point. And so it was a very slow process that led them up to the clubhouse and then underneath it. But one of the things that they're surmising is that it was either filled with contaminated dirt and the clubhouse was built on top of it, or that land was already contaminated from the creek flooding. Not really sure, but that does open the door to any place where contaminated soil may have been moved historically and then things built on top of.
Do you think it'll just be the clubhouse, or could this complex as a whole be contaminated?
I don't know. I know there are parts of the land in the complex that have contamination, and now certainly underneath the clubhouse. I sure hope not. I think that, what they'll have to do is it's condemned anywhere and tear it down, and I'm sure they'll test and see what they find. But I think, I think everybody from press to community members is feeling the same thing, which is it's like watching a slow moving disaster unfold.
In terms of the testing, how do you kind of characterize the extent of it right now? Are they actively out? You said they're listening to feedback and they're going to where suggestions are made. I guess just how do you feel about, and how do you describe the extent of, the testing that's happening now?
I think that 13 years of hard work and pushing, and we finally have them listening. And I don't think we can ask them to do anything else than what they're doing. Again, we're very, very thankful to the Army Corps, but it feels like they're chasing a soccer ball that somebody kicked 60 years ago, and it's so far ahead of them. And they're trying to get their, arms around it. They're trying to find it all, much less clean it. They haven't even found it all. And I don't know. It's a very surreal feeling, and it's just a very heartbreaking feeling, and I think uneasy as to where else it could be found. I'm confident when they find it, they'll clean it. It's just, where else are they going to find it? Where else was dirt moved that they don't know about? And how in the world is it that this was contaminated and then this entire area built on top of it? Why was the contamination not found decades ago when they knew it was leaking into the creek?
Now, this apartment complex, as you mentioned, has not had people living in it at least for a few years. Are there homes or other apartment complexes, condos, etc., where you think now there could be contamination and where there are still people living?
There could be. And I think that that's our ask is that, if you suspect dirt was moved onto your property, even possibly before you bought it, please reach out to the Army Corps. I think there's a new level of outreach that has to happen.
That is Just Moms STL's Dawn Chapman speaking with our Michael Calhoun.
It's 7:27. Time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Gamma Tree Experts does tree pruning, among other things. What does that mean, tree pruning? What is proper pruning to help trees grow healthier? Well, crown thinning is one way to do it. That is the removal of select branches from your dense tree canopies. It allows more sunlight and air to pass through, and that technique improves overall tree health. It reduces wind resistance during storms, and it lowers the risk of disease and pest problems. Crown raising means to remove lower branches to create clearance for vehicles, pedestrian structures, lawn maintenance equipment. A lot of municipalities hire Gamma Tree Experts to do that. That service is particularly valuable for trees near driveways, sidewalks, and street-facing properties where visibility and access matter. So that's why many companies and businesses rely on Gamma Tree Experts to work on their grounds. Early pruning helps young trees develop stable branch structures and support healthy growth. There's so much on their website at gammatree.com to learn what they do. They've been doing it since 1954. Gamma Tree Experts, gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, let's talk about refinancings, and let's just bottom line this. Everyone needs money at some point in their life.
You know what, Dave? There's so many different ways you can make money. Number one, go to a lower rate. If you're financed over the last 3 years, chances are you're paying a higher rate than what you can today. Refinance with the bagel loan, no closing costs at all. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are concerned not about the cash flow, but overall interest that you're paying. Go from a 30-year to a 20-year. The rates are lower on a 20-year versus a 30-year. Save hundreds of thousands of dollars. And third is the really easy way. You need cash. I need cash. Take cash out. Refinance now. Take the money you need. Keep the payment the same. It's easy. It's simple. All with no closing costs with that bagel loan.
If you're looking to save money, get a little cash to your pocket, and do it with the right person, give Stewie a call or a text on his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS 226715.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
It is 7:30, and right now we've got sunshine, 48 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, unfortunately, folks, there's still no change with our crash here on eastbound 44 before you get to 270 at the Merrimack River. Only the right lane is open. 44 is stop-and-go pockets from about Antar, and it's a solid jam midway down the hill toward 141 all the way up to that crash, like I said, before 270. Eastbound 30 is an alternate route, is the busiest one. There's heavier traffic coming through Northwest Boulevard at Gravois Bluffs, and it's pretty much stop and go from 141 now all the way over to 270. But on the north side, Manchester, Doherty, Ferry, Big Bend are those options over to 270 all look pretty good right now. And actually, northbound 141 just busy into Valley Park, and after that up to Manchester, it's really not too bad. So those are better on the north side than they are taking Gravois on the south side. North 270 from 55 through Gravois, that's the slowest part. It's a little busy at Ladue after that. Eastbound 64 Clarkson to Timberlake's a little heavy. Westbound 64 around the city limits kind of slow. North 55 141 to the Merrimack, the right lanes, Butler Hill to 270, all lanes from Bayless up through Holly Hills. You've got volume, and 64 still just a brief slowdown through 159. Next update is 740 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Plenty of sunshine and 78 today. Sunny to partly cloudy tomorrow, high 85. Right now it's 51 degrees downtown.
Saturday is 1 year since a devastating tornado hit the city of St. Louis. Dr. L.J. Punch is a trauma surgeon. He was dealing with so many patients with gunshot wounds. He opened a clinic dealing with just that. But then there was another crisis.
The day the tornado went through St. Louis, it looked to me as if the city itself had been shot. And so I really have leaned heavily on the skills that I've learned from watching people work through that trauma of having their life threatened.
Punch is now also the director of 314 Oasis, which helps people on the north side with meals and other care. He says the trauma must be addressed, otherwise it can manifest itself in violence toward oneself or others. Saturday is a day of remembrance at O'Fallon Park at 9 a.m. and Fountain Park at 1. Hear more from Dr. Punch at 8:11.
5 people are in the hospital this morning after a Belleville apartment complex caught fire overnight. Firefighters responding to the burning 3-story building around 2 a.m. rescued several people from a balcony on the 3rd floor. So far, they say the injuries reported are from smoke inhalation, not burns. One person is in critical condition.
A 23-year-old St. Louis County man is facing 4 counts of rape or attempted rape, sexual abuse, and sodomy. He's being held on $750,000 cash-only bond. The probable cause statement says 23-year-old Lorenzo Gaines allegedly met and arranged to have sex with 3 different women on Instagram, but then sexually assaulted the victims after bringing them to his apartment between April and May of this year. Investigators believe there could be more victims. There's a bond reduction hearing today.
Gas prices in the St. Louis region are averaging $4.43 a gallon today. That's 23 cents higher than last week, almost $1.50 higher than a year ago. The good news is that diesel only increased 2 cents per gallon in the past week, so that is $5.62 a gallon.
We'll check your Money Minute next. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
All Access with Ollie Marmol on the Gas House Gang.
I think St. Louis likes watching a team that plays the game the right way, that plays the game hard, that never gives in. And those are the things we can control, and we'll hold ourselves, I'll hold myself accountable to, and then let everything else play out. But I think it's hard not to like this group. It's hard to watch them and not get excited about their style of play. Those are the things we can control at the moment.
Ollie Marmol, Tuesdays at noon on KMOX.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business?
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
It is 7:36, and this is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman. We'll check traffic and weather coming your way in about 4 minutes. Let's get you updated on your money report from Bloomberg. It's sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. Despite a number of massive job cuts at giant corporations, there's a growing demand for recruiters in the U.S. Job listings for headhunters are on the rise. Companies are looking for workers who are well-versed in artificial intelligence. Beyond tech, the healthcare industry's continuing need for workers has boosted jobs for recruiters. The record-breaking rally for stocks is taking a pause this morning. The U.S. and Iran struggling to maintain their fragile ceasefire. S&P futures are little changed to start the week. And Anthropic is said to have signed a $1.8 billion computing deal with cloud services provider Ackerman to meet surging demand for artificial intelligence software. Anthropic has seen demand for its Claude software soar in recent months as more customers flock to use its tools to streamline the process of coding and other tasks. Sources tell us the contract with Anthropic represents the largest deal in Akamai's history. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, let's talk for just a moment about your eyes. It's one of those things that you kind of take for granted until suddenly you can't take them for granted anymore. You need to make an appointment with Ophthalmology Associates. They are the doctor's doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors, which is more than any other practice. The doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer. The number 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com. Now, here's the thing. Yes, they'll do the eye chart to make sure that your prescription is okay, but they'll do so much more than that. It will be the most thorough eye exam that you've ever had, and you might discover some things like I did. I have dry eye disease. I just thought it was something annoying, but it was actually affecting my vision, so I've got that under control now. Who knows? They work with cataracts, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, dry eye. Yes, they do LASIK surgery. Give them a call today and make your appointment. 314-966-5000, Ophthalmology Associates.
Your money report, sponsored by Busey Bank.
Within the cities we call home, Busey Bank is more than a name. It's a commitment to your dreams. With Busey, trusted guidance is tailored to empower you every step of the way. Whether it's seamlessly managing your finances or planning for your future, Busey is dedicated to your financial success. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Deer season is here at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. If you've been thinking about a new mower, gator, or compact tractor, May is the time to take a look. Get cash off new select John Deere equipment, plus affordable finance options to help make your purchase even easier. Bring home dependable equipment built for the season ahead. Come see us at any of our S&P dealerships or visit snpartners.com. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 6/3/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Gas prices are brutal, but Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers, has your back. They're giving away $77 gas gift cards, fueling St. Louis all gas, no brakes. Enter until May 17th at KaufmanTownsley.com. Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis strong.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
He said the team's pretty upset about what happened yesterday. We'll hear his comments on the way at 7:45. Right now, Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Unfortunately, Tom, there's still no change on eastbound 44 in Fenton right now. This traffic reports the service at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Still working this crash before the Merrimack River Bridge. Before you get to 270, only the right lane is open. Traffic's at a standstill at Antire now on eastbound 44. It's an alternate route, eastbound 30, coming in through the Summit area, all the way up Northwest Boulevard to Gravois Bluffs, and then a jam from 141 to 270 is an alternate route. But again, if you're running up the north side now, 141 is backed up northbound from Hawkins up through 44. It's heavy up to about Vance, but after that, it's not bad up to Manchester. Manchester east of 141 looks good. There's a little bit of a backup on Doherty Ferry now between Carmen and Barrett Station, but Big Bend looks good over to 270, so you do have alternates that aren't as bad. Northbound 270, north of 55 through Gravois, that's slow. Manchester up to 64 heavy. South 270 Oliveville do is busy. If you're on eastbound 70, there's some slow traffic at TR Hughes East First City into the Rock Road. We have a crash near Hanley, and on Hanley there's a crash, so a little busy there. Eastbound 64 east of Boone's Crossing to Timberlake. It's slow east of Lindbergh around the Inner Belt, westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, westbound 44 downtown at 55, an incident causing a bit of a backup. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
7:42 and time to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. Looks beautiful out the windows here.
Oh, it's fantastic right now, Debbie. And we're going to see a lot of sunshine today. And it's going to be very comfortable, very pleasant this afternoon. Our high reaching 78. Overnight tonight, clear skies, light winds, a low about 55. Tomorrow, more sunshine to start the day. Then clouds start to move in the afternoon. Breeze heat even warmer up to 85. Be on guard for a thunderstorm earlier tomorrow night. Does not look like there'll be much in the way of severe weather, if any. Behind that little front, we get back to sunny, cooler weather on Wednesday, but mid-70s still. Sunshine for Thursday, mid to upper 70s. We'll get into the mid-80s Friday with clouds and sun and the chance for an afternoon thunderstorm. Right now it's 47 at St. Peter's, 53 in Florissant, 52 with sunshine downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:43. 17 American passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship are now under quarantine in Nebraska. On the journey home, one person tested positive for the virus and another started to show mild symptoms. CBS News correspondent Ian Lee has more from outside the facility in Omaha.
They're being monitored at the National Quarantine Unit here in Nebraska, the only federally funded unit of its kind in the U.S. An aircraft carrying the passengers touched down overnight in Omaha. One passenger has tested positive and another is showing symptoms. Officials said both were moved into the Nebraska Biocontainment Unit built to handle highly infectious diseases. The World Health Organization says infection can spread through close prolonged contact and recommends 42 days of monitoring to cover the virus's incubation period.
3 people have died since the outbreak.
Republicans and Democrats engaged in a political battle over redistricting, but since the Supreme Court ruling, Republican states moving quickly to try to gain political advantage in the midterms. CBS's Aaron Navarro has the latest from the White House.
In South Carolina, a majority black district, long represented by Democratic Congressman Jim Clyburn, could be eliminated.
I'm going to run, irrespective of what the makeup of the district might be.
With his overall approval rating hovering around 40%, President Trump had a message for House Republicans.
Well, they'll find a reason to impeach me, even though a lot of people said I had the greatest first term in the history of it. They'll try and impeach me, probably.
A new survey finds businesses are scaling back their investment plans as their costs rise. Lester Jones with the National Association for Business Economics says the businesses they surveyed report their sales remain resilient, but costs have risen during the war with Iran, constraining their profits and dampening their plans for hiring and investment.
Costs have risen amidst the Middle East conflict, and that kind of has an effect of constraining profits and dampening plans for hiring and investment, and then also kind of raises the economists' risks as they see the risk of recession.
Ins and Outs, sponsored by Innsbruck, where every day is the weekend. Let me look at this and say the Cardinals play dramatic games, period. End of story. Most of their games come down to the wire. Most of their games are close. And in the first 2, they came out on top. They beat the Padres on Thursday. They blasted them 6-0 on Friday. Then lost a close shave on Saturday, which led us to yesterday. The Cardinals are leading this game in the 9th inning. A Jordan Walker home run earlier in the game, but they still hold a 2-0 lead in the 9th, and they hand the ball to their best reliever, Riley O'Brien, one of the best in the National League. The other night when he pitched, he looked unhittable against this Padres team. And here he is trying to close it out with a runner on.
Not a lot going on offensively yet for the Padres, but they've got a runner on. The swing and a miss. He strikes out on Duhar. 1-2 the count. The pitch to France. Sweeper, swing and a miss. He struck him out.
One more to get. Nick Castellanos. He has him down to 2 strikes.
O'Brien is ready. And the pitch. Here it comes. Swing and a long one to left field. That's deep and it's gone. And we're tied at 2. Down to their last strike. The Padres strike with Nick Castellanos getting a hanging sweeper and hitting it into the bleachers. Cardinals 2, Padres 2.
An absolute killer. Cardinals lost the game 3-2 in the 10th on a sac fly by Manny Machado. Here's a disappointed Ollie Marmol on Cardinals TV. Chip Carey with the interview.
No doubt. Man, we played a good game. We knew it was going to be tight. Leahy did a really nice job of giving us a look through 5 there. Couldn't put a ton together offensively. Walker's homer was a big swing. Keeping it, these guys across the way to under 2 was going to be a tough one, but our bullpen did a really nice job, man. They got O'Brien. The guys leading up to that were excellent.
125 years, you set a franchise record for fewest hits allowed an opponent in a 4-game series. That speaks to the overall great work your starting staff and your bullpen did, today's results notwithstanding.
Yeah, that's a good lineup across the way. We held them down for the most part. Rotation did a nice job. Bullpen did a nice job. They got the closer today, but outside of that, man, the preparation's been incredible.
You guys have been able to flush good wins, tough losses. I'm sure that's the case going into Sacramento now.
No doubt. But what I love about this is you got a clubhouse that's pretty pissed right now. And that says something to not coming into this series feeling good about just splitting with these guys. They wanted to get Miller yesterday. They wanted to take the series and prove what they're all about. So I like the fact that the mood is what it is. The expectations are high, and I love it.
I know a day off is probably ready for everybody, but I know you can't wait to get back at it in a couple of days.
I'd like to go at it again, yeah.
Ollie Marmol with Chip Carey. Cardinals have the day off today. They visit the A's tomorrow. Stanley Cup playoffs, Montreal takes a 2-1 lead on Buffalo. And also yesterday, Anaheim beat Vegas to even that series of 2 games apiece. In the NBA, the Knicks swept the Sixers, and the Timberwolves even things 2-2 with the Spurs, which brings us to our parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. The Pistons at the Cavs with Cleveland, a 3-point favorite in this game. I'm going to go Pistons +3 on the road. How do you like that? And then the Lakers, that just moved just in front of me. It was 10.5. Now it's 11. You know what that tells me? The Thunder -11. I think Oklahoma City's so good. I think they're going to close them out tonight and sweep them. And they're going to do it emphatically. I got the Thunder -11. That's your parlay of the day, sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
On Saturday, May 16th, join KMOX and Grassroots Redeeming Love in commemorating 1 year since the historic EF3 tornado that devastated North St. Louis with a short morning of service. Volunteers will meet in the Kingsway East neighborhood from 9 to 11 to help clear tree limbs and trash. If interested in RSVPing for the cleanup or interested in donating to the effort, go to KMOX.com/events for more information.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:52. Here's Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're getting closer to clearing this crash on 44, Debbie, but it's still the same situation. Still just the right lane open, eastbound 44, approaching the Merrimack River Bridge before you get to 270. Traffic is jammed at a standstill as you approach Antire. Alternate routes eastbound 30 from Valley Dell to Gravois Bluffs is heavy. Then it's bumper to bumper 141 all the way to 270. Northbound 141, Hawkins up to 44 is jammed. It's slow up into Valley Park like Advance. After that, not as bad as 2-1 to look for other alternate routes to the north side. Ones are better than Gravois. North 270, 55 through Gravois slow. Doherty Ferry up to Ladou's busy. South 270, Dorset to 364, and then south of there down to Ladou's heavy. Eastbound 64, a lot of volume from Lindbergh through the inner belt. Eastbound 70, the Blanchett into 270 slow. Still this jam coming through Hanley into Cool Valley. We had an earlier crash and car fire there. The lane restriction, it's still backed up. North 55 backed up. Bayless up to River to Pear. Eastbound 70, we had a crash at St. Louis Avenue. It's jammed at Grand. Westbound 64 jammed west of 3rd Street onto the Poplar. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Very nice day today. Sunny and pleasant, high 78. Clear low 55 tonight. Tomorrow, sunny to partly cloudy. Breezy, warm in the afternoon, high 85 with a thunderstorm possible early tomorrow night. Currently, it's sunny and 57 downtown at the Arch.
Gas prices in the St. Louis region average $4.43 per gallon today. That's 23 cents higher than last week and almost $1.50 higher than a year ago. Diesel increased by only 2 cents per gallon over the past week. It's now $5.62 a gallon.
Former St. Louis Police Chief Sam Dotson is now the Dean of the Business School at Webster University. Dotson was Chief of Police from 2012 to 2017, moved to Washington, D.C. to work corporate security for Amtrak. Dotson got his management degree from Webster. The school used a Chicago-based executive search firm to conduct the hiring process. Webster President Tim Keene says Dotson is an extraordinary leader with broad skills.
Missouri real estate agents say they're seeing an uptick in business this spring over last.
We're on the right track.
Missouri Realtors President Brian Jarrett.
We're starting to move away. Rates are coming down a little bit. They went back up a little bit here and there, but they overall things been very steady. So we're seeing a good increase.
Jarrett said home sales across the state are up about 10% over a year ago. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Let's talk golf and bikes. First of all, Magic Mini Golf in the Del Mar Loop is closing. The indoor attraction at 6160 Del Mar also features shuffleboards and a small Ferris wheel. Owner Joe Edwards owns many other attractions in the Loop, including the Tivoli Theater, Blueberry Hill, Moonrise Hotel, the Pageant, Del Mar Hall. Edwards says the space won't be long, according to the Post-Dispatch. He plans to give details on its replacement later this month. He says the 27-foot sign outside the building will continue to stay lit at night.
A local golfer will take on several aspiring PGA players in a St. Louis tournament tomorrow. Fort Zumwalt East High School graduate Trey Rusthoven will be one of 54 golfers competing in the Advocates Professional Golf Association Tour at Glen Echo Country Club tomorrow through Thursday. Rusthoven says if you can't make it this week, you'll have another chance to see players compete in St. Louis.
It's always fun to get a professional golf tournament in the area. I know they got, I think, 3 this year with us, the PGA Tour champions, and then I think the BMW championship at Belle Reve will be here this year too. So just to have a professional event here is always something special.
Free bike rentals at the Gateway Arch this month. It's National Bike Month, and Big Muddy Adventures is offering complimentary bikes during normal operating hours at the Arch. Riders can cruise around the riverfront, downtown, or connect with nearby bike paths. The free rentals are available on a first-come, first-served basis from 11 to 4, Thursday through Sunday.
It is 7:56, and this is Total Information AM.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
With summer here and the kids home full time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get them all done. Trusted in St. Louis for 100 years. Always look for the genuine, the original Red Ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Since 1926, they're never going to steer you wrong. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
With the new My Lowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business credit.
Bring your home back to life with Zero Res, a fresher clean that you can actually feel. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them about the DGS KMOX deal.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, they cleared the crash now. All lanes are open eastbound 44 before 270, but it's still a solid jam from Antire to it. Eastbound 30 still a solid jam, 141 to 270. Still working this. There was a vehicle fire and crash while on the ramp from Hanley to westbound 70. Westbound's backed up at Lucas Hunt. Eastbound's backed up at 170. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A trauma surgeon tackled a different kind of trauma. At 8:11, hear from the doctor who's continuing to help North St. Louis residents impacted by the tornado.
What does a massive media merger mean for viewers and for journalism? Webster University's Julie Smith joins us with answers at 8:24.
Landscape architect Thomas Rayner says your plants are talking to you. What are they saying? Hear more at 8:50.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A gorgeous day today with sunshine, our high 78.
I'll be back for the Gas House Gang at noon. We have a lot to talk about with Greg Amsinger and with Mike Claiborne. Chris Ranji will be with me. Cardinal baseball to discuss at noon.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. 17 Americans who were on board the cruise ship hit with a deadly hantavirus outbreak are back home this morning. Correspondent Ian Lee is in Omaha.
They're being monitored at the National Quarantine Unit here in Nebraska, the only federally funded unit of its kind in the U.S. An aircraft carrying the passengers touched down overnight in Omaha. One passenger has tested positive and another is showing symptoms.
Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPook.
The bad thing that would have happened here is the person who tested positive this morning, this is really important news. That person, if they just went home, they would have been walking around and then suddenly you become symptomatic and you spread it.
A French woman who tested positive has returned to Paris. Newly released video shows a trespasser getting hit by a Frontier flight taking off from a runway at the airport in Denver. The collision sparked an engine fire, filling the cabin with smoke. Transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
The investigation into how this happened is still ongoing, but the head of the Denver airport is now calling this a preventable tragedy. The airport believes this trespasser was hit and killed within about 2 minutes of scaling an airport perimeter fence, a fence ringed in barbed wire.
Passengers evacuated down the plane's emergency slides. 12 people suffered minor injuries. President Trump calls Iran's response to the U.S. latest proposal to end the war totally unacceptable. Iran's foreign minister insists it's responsible and generous. Esmail Bagahis through an interpreter.
I leave the judgment to you and to our people as to whether Iran's demand for ending the war in the region, Iran's demand for stopping maritime piracy against Iranian ships, what they have labeled a naval blockade, are these excessive demands.
The president is expected to address the war and relations with Taiwan when he meets with Chinese President Xi Jinping. CBS's Anna Corin is in Taipei.
Well, the U.S. approved an $11 billion arms sale late last year, angering the Chinese. A new $14 billion package is still sitting on the president's desk, yet to be approved.
The latest argument for a 4-day week? It'll help you keep excess weight off. CBS's Vicki Barker is at the foreign desk.
The 33-nation study found countries like the U.S., which have longer average working hours than those in Northern Europe, also have higher obesity rates. This, even though Northern Europeans actually consume more energy and fat.
Gas prices holding steady at an average $4.52 a gallon this morning. Dow futures down 34. This is CBS News.
It's one of the most successful law and justice programs in television history that continues to uncover the truth. 48 Hours, Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount.
It is 8:03. We've got sunshine and 53 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey. 5 people are in the hospital this morning after a Belleville apartment complex caught fire overnight. Firefighters responded to the burning 3-story building around 2 this morning, rescued several people from a balcony on the 3rd floor. So far, they say the injuries are from smoke inhalation, not burns. According to Fox 2, one person is in critical condition. Neighbors are shocked at the discovery of even more radioactive contamination in North St. Louis County. So what happens next?
It's like watching a slow-moving disaster unfold.
I'm Michael Calhoun. The Army Corps of Engineers, as we reported Friday, is moving to tear down the clubhouse at the French Quarter Apartments, which has been closed for a few years. There's a fence around the property now. The Corps says testing found radioactivity in the soil underneath the building.
We're very thankful that the Army Corps went in there and tested. I mean, they're doing what we ask. It's just, gosh, Michael, it's like they're 60 years too late.
Dawn Chapman of the group Just Moms STL. What now?
One of the things that they're surmising is that it was either filled with contaminated dirt and the clubhouse was built on top of it, or that land was already contaminated from the creek flooding. Not really sure, but that does open the door to any place where contaminated soil may have been moved historically and then things built on top of.
The Corps says the radioactivity is beneath the surface and not a danger to those walking above. Staff from the Army Corps will answer questions at a public update on May 21st. The search should continue this morning at Spanish Lake Park for a man who reportedly fell into the lake and may have drowned. The call came into St. Louis County Police around 4 p.m. Sunday, but the search was postponed by 7 last night. This comes as a woman drowned at that park 2 weeks ago. Her body surfaced near the St. Vrain picnic shelter. A 23-year-old St. Louis County man is facing 4 counts of rape or attempted rape, sexual abuse, and sodomy. He's being held on $750,000 cash-only bond. The probable cause statement says Lorenzo Gaines allegedly met 3 different women on Instagram, but then sexually assaulted the victims after bringing them to his apartment between April and May of this year. Investigators believe there could be more victims. There is a bond reduction hearing scheduled for today. There's also a public hearing today on data center zoning. Actually, it'll be tonight. The city's planning and urban design agency says the point of the hearing is to establish clear and thoughtful rules on when and where data centers can be developed in St. Louis. That meeting will be at City Hall at 5:30. There will be a virtual Zoom option. A second meeting is planned for Monday, May 18th. The agency says a vote may be taken during that meeting to recommend the new regulations to the Board of Aldermen. A French passenger who developed symptoms consistent with the hantavirus during a repatriation flight on Sunday has been quarantined in a Paris hospital and is being tested. The 17 Americans aboard the ship hit with the hantavirus were headed to the U.S. National Quarantine Unit in Nebraska.
Though a concerning fact, they will not be required to stay there following evaluation. They'll be free to drive to their homes.
The former CDC director, Dr. Robert Redfield, tells CNN he expects most passengers will have moderate to high risk exposure simply because they were on the cruise ship for so long with people who were infected.
And then they'll make a judgment in each individual case, whether they stay in the facility, whether they can be maintained in isolation by going home on their own, driving in a private vehicle, for example, so they don't put any risk to people on airplanes. It's important to realize this virus is very, very difficult to transmit.
Redfield says, unlike COVID, the CDC did not have any experience with that virus.
These viruses we've had for many, many years. The hantaviruses were a major virus that the U.S. government had to deal with during the Korean War.
Most of these hantaviruses only go rodent to person.
There is one exception, which is the Andes virus, which is the strain, unfortunately, that is involved in this ship and is circulating in Argentina. Many people may not know that since July last summer, they've had over 100 cases.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
2 of the 17 American citizens who were aboard the cruise ship hit by hantavirus were flown in biocontainment units. One passenger currently has mild symptoms. The other tested positive for the Andes virus, the strain on that ship. From the KMOX business desk, with warmer weather approaching, you might be ready to break the swimsuit out. And luckily, both St. Louis County-owned pools will open in 2 weeks. The North County Rec Complex at Veterans Memorial Park and the Pavilion at Lee May and Jefferson Barracks. Those open May 23rd. The pools will be open daily from noon to 6. It is 8:08.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Stan Musial, he missed a season in his prime to serve his country in the Navy.
Honor a legend on Saturday, May 16th, when the Cardinals face the Kansas City Royals. Fans can secure a Stan Musial military bobblehead presented by Coca-Cola and Deerbirds. This patriotic collectible celebrates Stan's Hall of Fame career and his service to our country. A true symbol of character on and off the field. A tribute worth displaying and remembering. Don't miss it. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Some Sundays are made for the water. Sunday, May 17th, as the Cardinals take on the Kansas City Royals, make it a ballpark day too. That day, you can score a Cardinals boat tote presented by Coca-Cola and Walmart. A classic summer bag that fits right in from the dock to the dugout. It's ready for long weekends, sunny afternoons, and whatever plans you have next. Get tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norm Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's check the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have quite a jam on eastbound 44, Debbie. It's getting better, but MoDOT's still guesstimating from like west of 109 or east of Six Flags. It's about a 50-minute trip to get to 141. The jam goes from west of Antar to 141. The original crash was at the Merrimack before 270. So it's getting better, but still a significant jam there in the area. Obviously, eastbound 30, that's still a solid jam. 141 to 270. Northbound 141 still bumper to bumper from Hawkins up through 44. Then it's not as bad into Valley Park. Northbound 270 north of 55 through Gravois, slow. Doherty Ferry all the way up to Ladue is busy. If you're on eastbound Highway 370, it looks like we have an incident at Elm Newtown, a little backed up there. Eastbound Highway 70 east K to TR Hughes, Earth City into 270. Westbound 70 still kind of slow. West of Bermuda into Cool Valley, we had that incident of vehicle fire on the ramp at Florissant Road and between Florissant Road and Hanley. Everybody westbound 70 was looking at it. Eastbound 64 is still pretty busy. 270 all the way into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker into Big Bend is heavy. North 55, a couple of pockets. Bayless up through Virginia. Westbound 64 from the 70 split to the Poplar, there's a couple of heavy stretches. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A nice day today with plenty of sunshine. Our afternoon high 78. Clear tonight, though 55. Sunshine mixing with clouds later tomorrow. Breezy and quite warm in the afternoon, high 85. There can be a thunderstorm early tomorrow night. For Wednesday, back to sunshine, breezy and cooler, the high 75. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now it is sunny and 53 degrees in downtown St. Louis. There were many groups that mobilized to help in the aftermath of the May 16th tornado, and some organizations that formed when they saw how much work needed to be done. Dr. L.J. Punch is joining us. He is a trauma surgeon. He is also the director of 314 Oasis. Dr. Punch, what is 314 Oasis?
314 Oasis is a collective effort in community care that was launched in the aftermath of the May 16 EF3 tornado that tore through the heart of St. Louis. We provide numerous in-person services along the tornado impact path that include personal care, respite, and connection to recovery-related services, as well as basic needs like meals, food, hygiene, and other kinds of basic supports.
I know that a lot of people volunteered, and there were just hundreds, thousands of people who helped out in the weeks and months following the tornado. But obviously, people move on with their lives. Have you noticed a downturn? What is the need still currently in your assessment?
Well, when the tornado hit St. Louis, I viewed it through my medical lens, recognizing there would be a surge of need and help in the initial weeks after the tornado, but that there would be also a period of prolonged rehabilitation that would be sort of kind of like after you get discharged from a hospital, after a major illness or an injury. It's that long drive where you have to learn to walk again and gain your muscle back and learn to live a new life with maybe something you lost. And that long recovery is not something that I saw our region had an infrastructure to support. And so 314 Oasis evolved as a continuation of that emergency response to make sure we were keeping access to care available. And here's why. When someone is destabilized and displaced from home, it's incredibly impactful. And it also takes a while to resolve if your home itself is destroyed. We knew that it would be, again, looking at other disasters nationally and historically, a long time and a long road to recovery. So yes, definitely people heroically responded, but there's been a paucity of infrastructure to keep that response going and to keep it going in person, right there along the tornado impact path. And so that's what we've done in many ways, also collaborating with organizations that provide care to tornado survivors as well.
It's interesting that you are a trauma surgeon and you're dealing with a community that has dealt with trauma, not needing surgery necessarily, but the trauma of that day and the trauma of continuing to just try and live your life each day.
Yeah, I mean, I say I'm still a surgeon, I just cut without a knife, meaning I use all the skills and the ways of thinking about injury and response that I learned from the operating room in the streets of St. Louis and Baltimore. Now, on the structural level, recognizing that you have to have a system in place to support people when they cannot support themselves. And so it's been wild to discover new kinds of care and treatment, what it is to actually put someone in a crisis housing situation, whether it's a hotel, and applying for rental assistance, what it is to try to advocate for someone to get their utilities put back on, what it is to have a serious supply of meals and food so that people can stay nourished, what it is to right there outside under tents with zero gravity chairs and some acupuncture needles, help people come out of a trauma response and crisis. We're using everything at our fingertips to help people address what it is to be displaced from home.
I think some people may recognize your name, Dr. LJ Punch, because of the clinic that you've run, where you treat people with gunshot wounds. And you have said in the past that, we tend to focus on the number of people who have been shot and killed, but not the people who have been shot and are, lifelong injured and dealing with that. Do you worry that this state of desperation is going to lead to more violence as, people's lives are so upended?
The day the tornado went through St. Louis, it looked to me as if the city itself had been shot. And so I really have leaned heavily on the skills that I've learned from watching people work through that trauma of having their life threatened. When we have threats against us and we don't have a way to resolve them and feel safe and cared for, it will turn into all kinds of behaviors that can be harmful to us and harmful to other people. That includes profound depression, anxiety, a desire to end someone's life, or a desire to end your own life. If you look at studies, for instance, in the years after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, the first year, people were in so much shock, issues like this actually declined. But then in the years after, they definitely increased in the community. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have focused intensely on what it is to care for the city as it heals this wound, because unmet needs from this kind of life-threatening trauma absolutely can turn into, in the long run, behaviors that are destructive. And we then sometimes blame people for those behaviors without recognizing the root that they come from. And so the 314 Oasis has been doing what it can to hold people, to show up, to be present, to create safe spaces for neighbors, even just to connect with each other, to share a meal and know that they're not alone, that they matter, and that they deserve to have a safe place to live. And that is very much what it is to care for anyone, whether it's an individual person or a whole community who has experienced life-threatening force like that.
Do you have any idea at this point how many meals or how much food 314 Oasis has served since the tornado?
So we did 7 days of continuous presence in Fountain Park right after the tornado, and then over the fall and winter shifted to what we call hub and flow model, where we have 2 hubs in O'Fallon and Fountain Park, and then we have several outreach positions, for instance, an academy in the Greaterville. Throughout that, we've done over 250 days of service. We have served over 40,000 meals. We have provided connection to everything from ID assistance to utility payments to transportation support to direct care with acupuncture and massage therapy to hundreds of people. And we in the meantime, we've also engaged over 30 contractors, many of whom are people whose work, life, or business were directly impacted by the storm. And so we have in particular a group of meal providers who have been able to help us provide those meals locally, they themselves having maybe had their business or their restaurants impacted by the storm, now being able to pivot, rebuild, and become part of the solution. It's been beautiful. In particular, the group at Lynette Good Eats, which is right across from O'Fallon Park, is a restaurant that was destroyed by the tornado. Jake Wheeler and the group of folks at 100 Roofs immediately stabilized the building, and I've been helping the group repair. But we've used that lot at 4122 West Florissant as our O'Fallon hub, and it's been a real resource to the neighborhood. Right now, we're serving around 400 unique individuals each month, and also have a small cohort of people, again, who we're doing deeper care, we call Oasis Care, to get them rehoused again. It's been something that I never imagined I would have to gain the capacity to do, But I will tell you this tornado reveals the baseline lack of infrastructure in this city for people who are unhoused. And overnight, suddenly thousands of people became displaced. And it really has shown the light on how we need to have better systems in place to feed people, shelter people, and get people home again.
If people want to find out more about how they can contribute or find out more about 314 Oasis, it's easy, 314oasis.com. The director is Dr. L.J. Punch, who also is a trauma and critical care surgeon. Thank you so much for telling us more about your organization on KMOX. It is 8:22. Let's get you caught up on traffic with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still backed up on 44, Debbie. It's getting better, but still delays coming from Lewis Road through Antire about midway into 141. After that, it opens up as you get down the east side of the Antire Hill, and then it's just slow approaching Bowles up to Miraz. Eastbound 30, still some stop-and-go stuff from the Merrimack up through Mauer. It opens up before you get to 270. North 270 at Gravois, still slow from Doherty Ferry up to Ladue. Eastbound 44, by the way, east of 270, all the way in through Berry Road looks a little busy as well. Eastbound 64, you've still got slow stuff from Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64, McCausland to Hanley's heavy. South 170, busy from Brentwood. Westbound 70, still some slow stuff west of Bermuda through Florissant Road due to that earlier vehicle fire in downtown. Westbound 64, just slow west of 3rd Street, headed for the Poplar. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, plenty of sunshine today with a high of 78. Currently, it's sunny and 54 degrees.
Hey, this is Tom Ackerman. What's more St. Louis than the historic Anheuser-Busch Brewery located in the heart of Soulard? A visit to the brewery is a perfect way to kick off your summer in St. Louis, and there's something for everyone. Walk the historic grounds and see where Budweiser has been brewed for 150 years. Enjoy a day fresh beer and meet the world-renowned Budweiser Clydesdales in their historic stables. Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch, they are a part of St. Louis history, and so are the Clydesdales. And you can have a great time with a visit to those historic grounds. There's nothing quite like a visit to your hometown brewery. Reserve your tickets today at BudweiserTours.com. That's BudweiserTours.com. And bring your friends too when they come into town this summer, the historic Anheuser-Busch Brewery in St. Louis.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com. or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
It is 8:25. The CEO of Nexstar is defending its $6.2 billion purchase of rival Tegna, saying it's a fight for the future of local journalism. A federal judge has paused the merger for now as multiple states join an antitrust lawsuit. KMOX's Megan Lynch spoke with Webster University media instructor Julie Smith about the deal.
So Nexstar is the largest local TV station owner in the country. They have 197 stations in 116 markets. So Nexstar in St. Louis owns KTVI and KPLR. Tegna owns 64 TV stations in 51 markets, and Tegna owns KSDK here in St. Louis. So if they merged, if Nexstar purchased Tegna, then this one company would have 260 stations in 44 states, which equals more than 80% of American households. And so I think that is kind of the red flag that's being thrown up by some people, saying that it's just too much influence for one company to have.
The question that a lot of people might have is, wouldn't this create some economy of scale? Do these TV stations and these entities need this to be able to survive in today's advertising environment?
I think the question is actually, does bigger mean stronger or more powerful? Because, yeah, they say that the local TV stations need scale to compete with big tech because so many of us are getting news from Google and all those other platforms. They say that it's going to provide more resources for local news and financial stability for struggling stations, provide more stronger negotiating power with the networks, because these companies all negotiate with the networks, like KSDK, for example, is an NBC affiliate. But I worry about reduced competition, and here's this huge new company that could charge whatever they want, because DirecTV is very anti this, because then, if you are a cable provider and you don't play with Nexstar, you're out 144 stations. So I think that's another red flag that a lot of people have.
For consumers, as far as the bottom line.
Right.
What about the news product? Competition in news is a good thing, to have a lot of people out there scrambling to get that story and get the best coverage for their viewers and their listeners. Nexstar has a track record of consolidating news operations when they buy up a market. What should people be concerned about there?
I think, at least what I find most interesting about this, Megan, is that local news is pretty much the only news that Americans still trust. We've lost faith in national news. And Nexstar, like you mentioned, if this sale goes through, would have the ability to come up with quote unquote nationalized scripts, so that the same story that runs here in St. Louis would run in the other 200 markets. But I worry, like you do, with access to more than 80% of the American households, that's a lot of power. That's a lot of editorial power. I think that there would be some serious bias concerns, because, there would end up being some markets that only have stations owned by one company. So you would only have one voice. And from a media point of view, you want to have as many voices as possible.
That is media expert Julie Smith. It is 8:29, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
All right, it is that time of year when people start getting out in the yard and planning their parties. We, of course, have Memorial Day coming up, and the whole summer full of festivities and ball games. Are you ready? Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, whether you just need to get that fence fixed, or maybe the deck needs replacing, or maybe you don't even have a deck. Maybe you have one of those naked yards that's just screaming to be transformed into your favorite place. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is offering 48 months interest-free financing if you give them a call now and tell them Debbie Monterrey sent you. They've been in business for 58 years now. A family-owned, fourth-generation local company with an incredible reputation. And that's why they say Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. Stop by and see them in the Chesterfield Valley, or find them online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
I've been burned before. I was just repeating the same patterns. It turns out I had a type.
Workplaces everywhere are looking for love. And by love, we mean the easy way to order food at work. Easy Cater.
I thought ordering from great restaurants at work had to be complicated, but then I met Easy Cater. So many options, so flexible, and when I ordered for 50 gluten-free vegans without going over budget, I knew I'd found the platform I wanted to do life and lunch with.
Fall in love with Easy Cater. Start an order at easycater.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger, to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's check in once again at 8:31 with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, eastbound 44 continues to improve. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. But you still have a little bit of a jam. I guess we'll call it east of Lewis through Antire. Then it's still slow east of Bowles to Meraz, and there's a couple of slow spots. Lindbergh headed through Elm for Police Berry. So it's a lot better than it was, obviously. Northbound 270, Big Bend, all the way up to 64 to Ladue, slow. Eastbound 64, Lindbergh into Big Bend's heavy. South 170 delays from south of the Parkway. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. There's a couple of heavy spots. Eastbound 370, it's down to just one lane. The left lane open through Elm Newtown due to road work. It's jammed midway back to Truman. On the Illinois side, westbound 64 is just a little slow at the Poplar. We need to talk about our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route. You know, they're going to start this intermittent closures of up to 15 minutes starting today between 9 and 2 every weekday for the next 3 weeks, westbound 70 at Highway Z in Wentzville. And your alternate route to get around that is to take either A or 61 northbound to Wentzville Parkway to get around those closures when they happen. Like I said, it could be up to 15 minutes at a time. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It is going to be a sunny day today and a high of 78 degrees. Tomorrow up to 85. Right now it is 54 degrees with sunshine. It's 8:33. Living in one of the richest nations in the world does not necessarily mean you will live longer. Here's CBS's Jared Hill.
The U.S. has increasingly higher death rates compared to other wealthy nations. Findings from Boston University's School of Public Health show that cardiovascular diseases like heart disease and hypertension, metabolic diseases like diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and drug and alcohol issues account for the disparity. Research shows the U.S. had 12 million more deaths between 1999 and 2022 that could have been prevented compared to other high-income countries. Researchers say policy changes are needed to address the underlying health, social, and economic conditions that increase Americans' risk of developing these diseases.
Speaking of health, more snacks linked to contaminated seasonings have been recalled. We get more from CBS's Jesse Mitchell.
Giant Eagle is recalling some bags of baked pita chips with Parmesan, garlic, and herb. Williams-Sonoma and Fireworks popcorn, white cheddar seasoning products have also been voluntarily recalled. It's all linked to the recall of dry milk powder from California dairies due to possible salmonella contamination. No illnesses have been reported so far. Customers can return the recalled products to the place of purchase for a full refund.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin, thanks to Skyrizi. And that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
It is 8:36. This is Total Information AM. Time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gentner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. As many automakers scrap electric models and steer production back to gas-powered cars, Polestar is optimistic about producing a net zero vehicle by 2035. The EV maker spun out of Volvo says it squeezed its carbon footprint per vehicle by 7.3% last year. Polestar sales increased by 34% in 2025. Checking on your money, the stock market has hit a record high on the frenzy surrounding artificial intelligence. The S&P 500 is up 8.4% in 2026. The Nasdaq has surged nearly 16%, driven by heavy buying of semiconductor and related stocks. This morning, S&P and Dow futures are little changed. And Moderna says it's researching vaccines to protect against hantaviruses. Moderna has done early-stage vaccine studies with the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Disease. This began before the recent cruise ship outbreak. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it is mostly sunny now and 54 degrees.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman. You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters. And I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. And my family has been working with the Laderman Law Firm for over 20 years now. And the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change, laws change, but most estate plans do not change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated. At Laderman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. That's why I'm comfortable recommending them here in St. Louis, the Laderman Law Firm, ladermanlaw.com, or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the deck experts at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their experts will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready with expert advice. Need help from a pro? They can connect you with trusted local contractors. Also, check out their expanding paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deal specials and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
Higher electricity prices while utility profits increase. Competition lowers electricity's cost, but that's not what your utility wants. Your state legislation rejected their legislation to eliminate competition. Now your utility is trying to ignore them and ask DC for monopoly favors, putting corporate profits over protecting consumers. Hardworking taxpayers deserve better. Call your congressional leaders today. Ask them to tell FERC to say no to no-bid billion-dollar transmission projects paid for by the Electricity Transmission Competition Coalition.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It is 8:40 and quick news headlines for you. A North County apartment complex clubhouse is being torn down after discovery of nuclear radiation. Realtors in Missouri say the market is heating up compared to this time last year. 5 people are in the hospital this morning after a Belleville apartment complex caught fire overnight. A public hearing on data center zoning will be held tonight. It's at City Hall at 5:30. There is a virtual Zoom option. The Planning and Urban Design Agency says the point of the hearing is to establish clear and thoughtful rules on when and where data centers can be developed in St. Louis City. Let's get you updated on your ride in. It's 8:41. There have been a lot of issues on the roads for a Monday morning. Here's Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, pretty much all of them are behind us now, thankfully, Debbie. We do still have a jam on westbound 270. This traffic reports the service of McKelvey Homes. Just 203 to Route 3. We had a crash on the or at the Chain Rocks Bridge briefly. They cleared it, so it's just volume unwinding there. Eastbound 370, only the left lane is open at Elm Newtown because of road works. So you're backed up east of Truman. Eastbound Highway 70, we have lane restrictions at TR Hughes. It's backed up at Highway K right now. Northbound 270, north of 44, up to 64, still slow. 44 Bulls to Miraz is a bit busy, and after that, it's thinned out. Eastbound 64, east of Lindbergh into Big Bend's heavy. Westbound 64, Science Center at Hanley, slow. South 170, Bogs down at Brentwood. Northbound 55, a little heavy right around Weber Road. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyHomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
Plenty of sunshine today, 78, sunny to partly cloudy, 85 tomorrow, maybe a thunderstorm moving through tomorrow night. It's 54 degrees right now. You may be giving your garden the side eye, maybe like mine. Weeds have taken over with all the rain we've had lately, but what is your garden saying? Joining me right now is Thomas Rayner. He's a landscape architect who's done projects for the New York and Toronto Botanical Gardens, the U.S. Capitol grounds, and so much more. Welcome in advance to St. Louis, Thomas.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, you're going to be the keynote at Tower Grove Park's annual Flower Power Luncheon, and your talk is entitled Plants as Social Creatures. So you say that our gardens are having conversations, so I have to ask, what are they saying?
Yes, we do. I think very much about gardens a little differently, not so much about individual plants, but thinking about how plants live together. They are social. They have these social networks, these communities, and that when we design that way, landscapes can be healthier, more beautiful, and really take care of themselves better. So a big part of our work is really helping people see plants not just as decorations, but more as living systems so that we get more benefit from what they can do, like an engine.
So how would we know? Are there certain plants that get along better than others?
Yeah, I think all plants have evolved in relationship. And so a big part of our work is trying to help people understand how to put them together. So it's not just about certain plants, but it's about understanding how to assemble plants as a choir, a role. Like it's the difference between a choir and a room full of soloists, right? The choir is richer, more stable, more powerful. So it's really about kind of thinking about how plants evolve in the wild and not just their ornamental role, but kind of what functional role they play. Some are ground covers and cover grounds spread horizontally. Other ones self-sow. Others are stable. They don't move around a whole lot. And, so a lot of times we're thinking about how to create a green carpet that creates more stability and less work, and hopefully even more pleasure, because it's a more of a biodiverse biophilic way of designing.
All right. Well, less work, more pleasure. You had me right there. So you are an ecological landscape designer. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, it just means designing the way that plants actually live in the wild. And this really has to do with they tend to be more dense in the way that they cover ground, understanding how they compete and how they cooperate. So we're just thinking about kind of the ways plants relate to other plants and to their environments, and that really helps shape that. For us, it's about taking the best of what horticulture has done for hundreds of years, which is to really kind of celebrate the beauty of plants and to arrange plants in ways that people can see that beauty, like clustering things together. But in the American context, we have these American suburban landscapes or office parks where you're just seeing kind of plants, little objects sitting in a sea of mulch. And we think, when designed right, we don't even need the mulch. Plants are the mulch, and we can fill all those empty spaces that a lot of our institutional landscapes have with more biophilic life.
where you will be speaking, Tower Grove Park, it's a very old urban park, more than 150 years old. It's a National Historic Landmark Park. What is the ecological responsibility of urban parks or urban historic parks? Is it a different approach?
That is just Tower Grove is extraordinary because it's both historic and alive. It's not frozen in time. And it's one of the few places where, people, especially in the city, can see horticulture, ecology, and public life all layered together at once. Literally thousands of trees, hundreds of species is already kind of functioning as a complex plant system, whether or not visitors realize it. People come there for a walk or a picnic, but they're actually moving through this living network. And so a big part of, what we're doing is celebrating what role these historic parks have. And then also, kind of working with parks to understand how new and innovative approaches to planting design can support the life and diversify the functions that these parks play for cities.
As people are getting out into their yards to start planting and to start, making their gardens ready for the spring and summer, is there a particular plant or tree that you wish people would knock it off with already? Like you're just over it, or maybe one that you wish people would visit more?
It's a great question. I think there's a list of kind of like very overused plants that very often are repeated in landscapes. To me, sometimes the simplest and classic ones, an oak is just as classic and as beautiful. But any plant in the right place, regardless of whether it's rare and special or it's common and kind of everywhere, in the right place, doing the right thing can be, extra beautiful. So a lot of it's about plants to place. And a lot of it's really understanding that there's certain native plants that are super plants. Just like, blueberries and almonds are superfoods. There's certain, not all native plants are equal. There's certain ones like oaks or a wild mountain mint, which is another like low herbaceous plant that supports, dozens and dozens and dozens of butterflies and pollinators, much more than, some other native species. So a lot of our work is trying to, kind of use our green carpets and put as many of these kind of super plants as possible in them for maximum function.
Thomas Rayner is a landscape architect. He's going to be the keynote at Tower Grove Park's annual Flower Power event, and I'm looking very forward to hearing your talk. Although for people hearing this now, you sold out the event, so all the tickets are gone. So
fantastic!
I will have
very exciting.
Yes, I'll have to report back on what you said to folks on the air. But thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to meeting you when you get to St. Louis.
Thank you so much. Good to talk to you.
Your yard, your workday, your John Deere. At Side & Sugar Nobe Partners, get the mowing power you need with low financing options on John Deere Zero Turns. For a limited time, choose 0% financing for 36 months or 1.9% financing for 60 months on Z700, Z900, and Quick Track commercial mowers. Plus, get additional cash off select mowers. Side & Sugar Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 6/1/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KingdomOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joining us right now on KMOX, it's a fellow Debbie Baldwin.
Thank you for having me, fellow Debbie.
Yes, fellow Debbie Club. I don't know if I should start with your new book, which is called The Architect of Deception, or with your very interesting resume. I think I'm going to start. Actually, let's start way back, because when you were in high school, you interned at KMOX Radio.
I did indeed. Back when they were, had a hamster and a wheel to power the station.
Back when we were on Memorial Drive. Beyond that, you were a popular humor columnist for the Ladue News for how many years?
I was for 10 years. I wrote a column called The Tangential Thinker, which was, if I'm really flattering myself, sort of an Irma Bombeck style column about my 3 children who had the monikers Cranky, Whiny, and Punch as they were growing up, and just sharing stories of long car trips to vacations and first days of school and all that kind of fun stuff that mothers and parents totally relate to. So that was always a great pleasure to write.
And then transitioning from a column, you actually sold a TV pilot a decade ago.
I did. It's a great story because my writing partner, Kim Sella, and I wrote a pilot about a psychologist whose personal life is wackier than his situations with his clients. And we wanted to make sort of a modern day Bob Newhart show. And we sold the pilot without representation, which, to your listeners, if anyone has any experience in the television industry, it's kind of unheard of. So, I was joking the other day that on set, people would say to us, is your middle name, Mayer or Scorsese? Like, who are you related to that you were able to do this? And, we were just 2 Midwestern women who wrote a very funny show. And it was called Almost There. And it was a 10-episode single camera comedy that aired on AT&T's original programming network, which is no longer there, but it was called Audience Network. And it starred Stephen Pasquale from Rescue Me and Susan Kalichi Watson from This Is Us. It was
love her.
Incredible. I mean, unforgettable experience.
And of course, you have the book. So let's talk about The Architect of Deception. The cover actually reminds me of the courthouse building in downtown St. Louis.
I totally agree.
Is writing books what you're doing most of the time now, or do you still have your pen in a number of different places?
It's just writing books. This is my 8th novel. The first 7 is a romantic suspense series of interconnected standalones called the Bishop Security series. And those are just fun. Read them on an airplane, page turners, spicy, just code for. And this is my 8th. It's separate. It's a story of a wealthy, privileged guy in New York City who is sort of crippled with grief over the death of a sibling 6 years ago, his identical twin. And he cannot seem to get out of this sort of black hole of grief. One of his best friends receives an invitation to join a secret society. And the friend is too afraid to attempt the initiation task, which is to break into a billionaire's home and steal a trinket. So our main character, who's desperate for some distraction, says, I'll do it, and unwittingly steps into a trap that puts him in the frame for a murder. It just pulls him into this very crazy conspiracy.
Congratulations on The Architect of Deception. Debbie Baldwin is the author, and I'm sure you'll be hearing much more of her. I'm glad to finally meet you.
You too, Debbie. It's so fun to be here and chat with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Like fidgeting, gum chewing may release nervous energy. A 2025 review by Polish researchers analyzed more than 3 decades of brain imaging studies and found that chewing gum alters brain activity in regions tied to movement, attention, and stress regulation. Chewing gum has no effect on memory, but it does influence our ability to perform tasks under pressure. This could be because chewing increases blood flow to the brain. I'm Margie Schaefer.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we know you're no stranger to setting big goals, whether in school, at work, or in life, and you're ready for more. At UMGC, we offer the skills-based education you need to move your career forward. Learn how to